This New York chick, Brooklyn music, she takes her stance. She hears the music, here's her chance. Brooklyn music, her justice dance. They face the music, they got no chance.
Hey everybody, welcome in. It is Saturday, February 22nd at 1:05 p.m. And I just wanted to start a little early today. I know I said we were going to go live at 1:45 p.m. But I wanted to start with a little bit of some inspiration because I just started reading a book. And let me just start here. So it's, I started writing some stuff down. So it says, I started it with, while everyone is reading the Let Them book, which is, by the way, is not a new concept by any means. Mel does a good job sharing her perspective on the theory. I found this gem and I recommend it. The following was shared by Books World, and I share the same sentiments. Here are the 7 powerful lessons from the book, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes, by Lysa TerKeurst. 1. Boundaries protect your heart. TerKeurst emphasizes that boundaries are not about keeping people out, but about protecting your emotional and mental well-being. They define where you end and another person begins. Safeguarding your own sense of self, it's about self-preservation, not isolation. Hey, everybody, welcome in. Beamer, Zero, Des, Barbara George, Morgan. I see all of you guys. Hey, I know you see my title is New York and Texas Old School Chat. Come hang out. And yes, I'm going to have a special guest. And so, hey, I see you guys. Lexi, Morgan. Let me just scroll up really quick. What's up, Zero? Darlene Wolf. All right, so I want to finish reading this because there's 7 powerful lessons here. So, all right, so where did I start? Did I read the first one? Okay. Yes, all right, so let me just start over because it's very powerful for me, and I do want to share this with you guys. And so I wrote down the 7 powerful lessons. So number 1 is boundaries to protect your heart. TerKeurst emphasized that boundaries are not about keeping people out, but about protecting your emotional and mental well-being. They define where you end and another person begins. Safeguarding your own sense of self, it's about self-preservation, not isolation. 2, boundaries are an act of love for yourself and others. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love, recognizing your worth and prioritizing your emotional health. Ironically, it can also be an act of love for others as it creates healthier dynamics and prevents resentment from building up. It's about creating sustainable relationships. 3, no is a complete sentence. Learning to say no is crucial for maintaining healthy boundaries. It's about recognizing your limits and honoring your needs, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's about prioritizing your well-being. 4, guilt is a liar. People may try to guilt you into abandoning your boundaries, but TerKeurst stresses that guilt should not dictate your decisions. You are not responsible for other people's reactions to your boundaries. It's about resisting manipulation. 5, goodbyes are not always forever. Sometimes goodbyes are necessary for growth and healing. This doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is over for good, but it may require distance for a period of time. It's about recognizing when a relationship is no longer healthy in its current form. 6, God can redeem broken relationships. TerKeurst emphasizes the power of faith and the possibility of redemption in relationships. While not all relationships can be restored, she offers hope and encouragement for those seeking healing and reconciliation. It's about the potential for restoration. 7, you are worth fighting for. Ultimately, good boundaries and goodbyes is about recognizing your worth and fighting for your emotional well-being. It's about prioritizing your needs, setting healthy limits, and knowing when to let go of relationships that are no longer serving you. And it's about self-advocacy and self-love. Now, I just wanted to read a little bit of that because the title of the book was so solid for me because it is by an author and her name is Lysa TerKeurst, and the title of the book is Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. And I just started reading it, and it ties into a lot of, the daily things that we do. And, it's a lot of, listen, I read a lot about like self-help and just things. And so it was important to me because I am a big person of let me see. Let me stop for a second. What's up, B Frank? Good to see you. Yeah, Morgan. We're gonna have LaDonna. Listen, this is gonna be very lighthearted. I just wanted to you need to read this book. Yes, you do, B Frank. I haven't even gotten through half of it. What's up, Lena? Good to see you. You know, setting good boundaries and goodbyes is never a bad thing. It's really not. And so I encourage everybody to read this because I am somebody that I am here for the victims. I'm here for my friends. And I am also a person of pivoting in life. And so I believe in all of this good stuff. And I said, you know what? Who better than LaDonna in Texas? Because I put the picture up for us because tomorrow is a game. It's the Islanders versus Texas. And I was like, you know what? She was like, Dawn, I want to come up on the panel. And I was like, perfect. She's backstage and she's going to come up right now. And we're going to just we're going to just hang out. And here she is right now. And I'm going to add her to the panel because she's an amazing person to just hang out with. And we're just going to hang out. And you guys are here with us. And yeah, it is. Darlene, it's about healthy boundaries and growing and changing. And I really do look up to LaDonna because she's here. She's been around for a long time. And what's up, LaDonna? Good to see you.
Hey, Dawn.
Ah. And so I know I put it up there and I was like, it's so controversial because it's in hockey. And who got you? I was like, you know what? New York and Texas, right?
I just thought it's been a long time since I paneled, so I thought I would do it with somebody that's the opposite of me so we can play off each other.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that you wanted to do this because, I've been coming up here for just a very short time. And, I was telling everybody before too, because, for the mental health, like we have a lot of people on here that come up and they're super crazy. Like we have a lot of psychotic. There's just a lot of people that are giving a lot of advice to people here. And I'm just like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like, what are they saying? Like, what are they doing here?
Well, thanks for letting me come up here. So hopefully we have a good time.
Of course. Of course. Thanks for coming up here. I love hanging out with you. So let me just tell Elena really quick. So Elena, the title of the book is called Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. So LaDonna, I was just telling them about a book I started reading. It's called Good Boundaries and Goodbyes.
Oh, okay. Is it take the good and throw away the bad?
Yeah. It's just kind of about, like when you get to the point where you're just like, you're a good person and you're like, yes. And you're like, you know what? You really just need to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And like, no is it's just not a bad thing to say. Like you have kids, like no is not bad. Oh, we lost her. She'll come back up. Yeah, Zero. LaDonna is my favorite person to have canned margaritas. Oh, she's awesome. I know. Darlene, you read the book, Yeah, she'll come back up. So, yeah, and it's just one of those things that oh, here she is. Hang on.
Sorry about that. I was looking for a charger to put the phone on.
You're good.
It's been a while since I've done the panel thing.
It's all right. So talk to us.
Oh, hi, Zero. Hello, Darlene. I saw Morgan earlier. Hello, Elena Gonzalez and Beamer and B Frank.
Yes. Everybody's here for you.
Oh, really?
What's going on over there? I heard you guys have snow.
Actually, we had snow 2-3 weeks ago, but no, it's just cold. We just had teen temperatures like the other day. It was 12 degrees at noon. No, we just luckily just had the cold weather, the cold temperature, but not the snow or the ice.
Oh my God.
Because now that doesn't mean other parts of Texas didn't get it. So, so when I say Texas, just remember I'm talking about my little area of North Texas. I can't speak for the rest of Texas.
Yeah, no, I know it's been cold there, which I mean down in the South too, it's been, listen, New York is freezing, and so I don't try to rub it in their face when I'm like, yeah, I got suntan lotion on. And so I'm like, go to the
Oh,
pool, and they're like, F you, Dawn. I'm like, listen, I lived 30 something years in New York, so I get it.
uh-huh. Well, do you remember 2019 when Chicago had the icebergs floating down that river thing, and they were on the news for having the polar vortex come through to the point where
Yeah.
they had like ice. It looked like icebergs floating down that little part of the river that they had there.
Oh my God. Well, you know what I do? Yeah, that was insane.
Because what's ironically funny is we went to Chicago for a weekend, like right after that, and it was still. That's when I learned what cold was. That was my first experience of super cold because the wind. I mean, I was wearing layers, and the wind just goes. It was like cut right through you like butter knife.
Oh,
I was
it's
like, oh my god.
miserable.
I mean, we were, waiting in the lobby of the hotel for our little Uber to come and show up, and I mean, we're talking about 20 steps out, and every minute you were out there, it was like bitter cold.
Oh, I don't miss it. When I go back and visit family and stuff, they're like, oh no,
Hmm.
here she comes. She's got to have 42 jackets on. I go, listen, I'm built for this, but you get a little spoiled being in the South. You got to go to the movies and you're like, I need a jacket. It's freezing in the restaurant.
They just don't understand that when they crank the AC, especially in the summertime, those places, I always carry a sweater or a hoodie when I would go to but I don't go to the movies much anymore because it's just too damn expensive.
Right. I mean, I went to pick up a pizza last night and the restaurant was freezing and people are like, their teeth are chattering. And I'm like, I just want to get a pizza and get the frig out of here. Like, it's so cold
Yeah,
in here.
we went to Taco Bell just now. My son and I went and did a Taco Bell because my daughter and my husband are off doing something for the day, so we're enjoying the quiet. 14 bucks for a quesadilla, two, some tacos and two drinks. I mean, 14
Dude,
bucks. And
Taco
we don't
Bell
do
has
it very
become
often. We don't do it very often, but when we do, it's just Taco Bell or something real quick. But yeah, you can drop 20, no more. It's just like
easily.
crazy.
Taco Bell
And
has become the most expensive takeout in like junk food.
it has. It's gotten to where it's cheaper to go and get actual like takeout from Chinese or one of the local places and get like go to one of the local owned places. You can get real food for what you pay for a taco now almost, or even donuts now.
Yeah.
Hell, when we go and get donuts and chocolate milk and a coffee, that's easily 10 to 20 bucks.
It's so funny you said Taco Bell because the last time I was talking to Red Dragon, she lives in Texas, and she said to me, "You go to Taco Bell." I said, "Listen," and I always say to the guy too, "Can you do me a favor and make sure you're not like cheap on the meat?" Because the last time they put like a little bit of meat on there, I go, "Listen, $14. Can you stuff that taco? Like, why do you got to be so cheap about it?" The guy looks at me like, "Lady, take your bag and get out of here." Like, come on, what do you got to act like you're friggin' paying for the chop meat? I mean, why do you got to be so cheap? Like,
Well, the main reason we go to Taco Bell is because it's drive-through. Not everybody wants to have to walk up or drive, walk in to get the real stuff.
I gotta be honest with you. I love to treat myself to that Mountain Dew every once in a while.
Oh yeah,
I just love
especially oh yeah, ice cold Mountain Dew or Dr Pepper.
Yeah, there's like that they get you by that fountain drink. I don't know. It's just I told her the last couple of times I talked to her, I said, I don't every time I talk to her, I said, I don't know what it is with Texas and Taco Bell. I said, but I gotta stop calling you. She
Yeah,
laughs.
Gen X, it is true. It is actually cheaper to get real Mexican food at a taco carnet, at one of the taco stands that are around here or, an actual restaurant. But
Mhm.
sometimes you just don't want to have to call in and, because if you're going to DoorDash or Uber, then you might as well, you're going to pay out the ass or drive
Mhm.
and go get it.
So
Now, if we had a
crazy.
Taco Cabana around here, Taco Bell would be a no-go because you can't beat Taco Cabana for real food.
And what's like the best food in Texas? Is it supposed to be like Mexican cantina? Like what are you guys known for there?
Depending on what region you're from, but most people think when they come to Texas, they're thinking barbecue or Tex-Mex, which is
Ooh.
both, which we're known for. But it's just like anywhere, every area has its specialty. Everybody hears about, the Philly cheesesteaks in Philadelphia, or
Mhm.
is it clam chowder and Boston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, everybody talks about the New York pizza by the slice. Every area, everybody knows Chicago's known for its deep dish pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just depends. Here in Texas, everything, it's everybody's all about the fajitas or the tacos with, like the real tacos, not just the ground beef, but the ones with the, strip steak that they call fajitas,
Right.
skirt steak.
Yeah. Well, in New York, it's like, right, you said pizza, bagels, it's the water, so the water makes it good. It
Yeah, I've
was
heard
funny, like,
that.
right, well, like when I came down to Florida, they were like, "Oh yeah, I know this bagel place that's just like New York." I'm like, "No, it's not. It has it's all right, but it's not exactly like and they'll name the place like New York style." I'm like, "Stop it,
Now,
liars."
have you ever been to Paloma? Is it what is it? Paloma Beach? Paloma Beach.
Paloma Beach. Mm-mm.
It's outside of Miami.
No. I know
Pompano.
that Pompano.
Pompano.
Yes. Mhm.
Have you ever been to Primati's there? I've heard that we went there once when we were on Florida on vacation. We went to Primati's at 3 o'clock in the morning because we were drunk. Apparently, they make those smash sandwiches where they put the French fries on it and they stack it like a foot high, and it's supposed to be out of some other. I don't remember if it was what area they came from, but they're supposed to be known in the around kind of like Mama Leone's is known for original Italian food in New York.
Oh, Primanti's. Yes, yes, we've been there. It's like down
Okay.
on it's like Pompano, like Fort
Yeah,
Lauderdale. Yes,
that's the one we
yeah.
went to. We went there like at 3 o'clock in the morning because we had been up in Miami, with my friends. We were there visiting a friends of ours, and
Mhm.
we came and we were starving. So
Yeah,
they took us to Primati. I don't really remember much of it, but all I can remember is I barely could get my mouth open to this was the first. You don't understand. We don't put our French fries on the sandwich itself.
that's kinda
We're used to
gross,
them
but
being on
they
the
do it, yeah.
side.
Yeah.
That was
Well, yeah.
the
Fort
that
Lauderdale,
was
they do a
interesting.
lot of things because it's very down in, like, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, they do a lot of just because it's big for, what is it?
The Winterbirds.
Yeah, not just well, they what is it called when they go on spring break? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
party town, things like that, vacation, you know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So, a lot of things are open 24 hours. It's party town, and so they just
Right.
do like wild, wacky things. So, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
it's a
French
touristy
fries.
drive. Well, because people are paying for that Florida vibe that they see on TV and movies and
I
music
tell you,
videos from the '90s.
yeah, it has built up so much down here. Like a drive that normally would take me 20 minutes is like 45 minutes to an hour now. It's insane. The traffic is just the buildings and it's just you look around and you go, where there once was land and space, there's like just it's crazy.
And people don't realize that Miami Beach is actually just a couple blocks long. I mean,
Hmm. And it's all sand too, so it scares me
yeah.
because I'm like, these buildings, like what's going to happen in 20, 30 years? Like now it's, 20, 30 years later, like is everything just going to just
Hmm.
fall on the sand? Like, what's up, Nicole?
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, no, the Primanti brothers,
Hey,
they're open
Nicole.
like 24 hours too.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah. So, they
Well,
do a lot of
just
times this time of year too. It's because, it's and the weather's beautiful. The nights are like 60, 70 degrees. And so everybody's out with a light jacket. They're hanging out, they're having all kinds
hmm
of parties, music, dancing. And so everybody and their mother's out dancing. So everybody's having a good time.
You know what's sad is before COVID, there used to be so many 24-hour things you could do in Texas. Like you used to be able to go to Walmart in the middle of the night or go to the grocery store in the middle. We had 24-hour, because I live in a big city.
Mhm.
But since COVID, now you can't go into Walmart after midnight. Not that I would, because that's when all the crazies
Mhm.
are out. But I mean, you can't even go to the grocery store anymore. I mean, it used to be everything was 24 hours, but COVID, now everything's back to almost old school. Like, you better get to the grocery store before 10 or something.
It's so scary, and I grew up in New York, so it's the same, but it doesn't matter like where you are. I just seen a story a couple days ago in Fort Lauderdale where there was a kid, he killed his baby mama and the mother and father of her, the kid, I'm sorry, the girlfriend's mother and father, and he took the 4-year-old kid, ran into a Walmart, and the cops got him in a Walmart with the little baby, the girl, because there was they send out the Amber Alert, so all the all the devices are dinging and everything, and so I'm like, oh, look at this little blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl and guy, and they're like, be on the lookout, and so I'm looking all around. They cornered this guy in the middle of a Walmart, and they got him, and he had just killed her and her mother and father.
Oh
And
my
they
God.
nabbed this guy in the middle of a freaking Walmart with this little girl. And I'm like in the middle of Fort Lauderdale. And I'm saying to myself, and here we are like walking around these stores all the time. And I'm like, and I'm not one to cause mass hate, pandemonium or anything, because I think people should go out, live their lives, shop, go places like you should. But these idiots are running around. Like, just what are you doing? So it bothers me. Yeah, like you should be able to go to the store, and I'm very old school like that. Like I want people to be able to go out, like you said, 24/7. Like go to the store, be able to go to Walmart in the middle of the night. Like that's the luxury of. I'm not one. Like, listen, internet shopping is great. I love it to be able to grab something stupid or whatever, but you should be able to go to the store and not have to worry about something happening to you.
Well, I mean, for a while there, we were all scared around here to go to churches because for some reason, lunatics about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a big shooting like in a Fort Worth church during service. I mean, for a while there, people were worried about, is it safe to send your kids to school? Because, for a while there was like because there's a lot of copycats. Once one person does it, it's like, is it safe to send my kids to high school? Because, I mean, my kids, there was a lockdown because somebody brought something into the school. And now because of that, nowadays, you can't even go into our schools anymore. Used to be you could sign in, give them your picture, and you go eat lunch with your kids. These days, you basically got to give them your DNA, your blood, and your just to even go into the front office anymore. Now, when I go to pick up one of my kids from high school, I have to go up to the office and talk through a queue, a hole in you can't even go into the front office anymore because of lockdowns.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think you should be. I mean, they want to create such mass hysteria, and I think, like you said, you should be able to go to school and have lunch with your kid. I used to be able to grab a sandwich and grab a sandwich and go sit with my daughter up on the stage in her little cafeteria and have lunch with her. And so, now she's in college or whatever, but it bothers me because, like you said, you got to do 42 things before you could even get on the the property of school. But then you have these idiots that are just walking on the property and just, it's disgusting.
I don't know if there's a hockey game, James, between New York and Texas, but there is a rap battle between me and Don Marie. We decided we're gonna do fake outrage and pretend we're fake enemies and hate each other.
Right. Yeah,
we're just trying to. Yeah, we're just trolling y'all. We're smoozing y'all, and then we'll start calling each other names and pull our hair and slap each other's faces.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got one. We could go there, but there is an actually the Islanders are playing the Texas. I don't even know the name of the team. I just grabbed the thing, but they're playing tomorrow night at 7:30.
Well, what city is it in Texas? I think the Dallas Stars. If I don't follow.
That's who it is.
Okay. Well, my husband's British. I mean, he's British citizen, but he's from England. Long story short, my in-laws are British. They immigrated in the early 80s to Australia, where my husband and his sister were born. Then they moved to the United States when my husband was 13, and he's been here ever since. And he's like 51. So he's now a citizen. But my mother-in-law, who lives next door, so I always hear British, and then my husband, when he's mad at me or angry or really tired, he'll sound Australian for a minute. So I don't really follow the sport. So even if there was a battle between New York and the Dallas Stars, I wouldn't know.
Listen, I had to look it up because I was like, do the Islanders play the Texans? Is it the Rangers or the Islanders? And so it's funny because when I was looking up the Dallas Stars, I was like, wait a second, hold on. Because the logo was set for both teams. And I was like, all right, ESPN, get it right. Like, do they both play? Like, hockey's all over the place. They had a game on the other night. USA was playing Canada. And so I said to my husband, I was like, are we going to watch this game or what? And so he's flipping back and forth and he's like freaking getting aggravated. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go inside and finish watching it.
Who won, by the way?
Canada won.
Okay.
So I just said, whatever. Morgan's like,
Well, I figured that one would have some rivalry when it's between Canada and the U.S.
hey, listen, you know what? Canada, they're up in the ice. They better be good. I mean, they got one score
Mm-hmm.
to win, so they got one. That they're in the ice. What 12 months out of 12 months, so they better be good at it. Hopefully, no one
Right.
dresses up as the Easter Bunny and goes live.
Oh,
Listen,
wait a minute. We got
boys.
somebody is asking you to dress up like a bunny and go
Yeah.
live.
All right. Listen, my body and your teeth. How about that?
I was gonna
Oh,
say, I don't do furries. I don't
how
do.
about? Oh my God! Could you die? I can't. Listen, we got one lady with bad teeth making fun of. I can't. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Like all of these people that are on here, and they're like, well, who's fighting over this one? Who's hiring a fake attorney? Who's doing? I go, people. I got a book I'm reading. I'm sitting
You
over
know
here
what's?
minding my own
I
business.
know, but you know what still gets me is remember last year when it was all about the fake dog trainer?
Yes.
I mean, everybody went ape shit over that. I mean, we were all like, because that was how bad there was no drama. There was no drama whatsoever. So when we found out about somebody supposedly being a fake dog trainer, but the problem was is she was being a fake dog trainer going to
She
looking
trolled the
for missing
shit out of
children.
them.
Oh,
Right.
I know.
She was,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but the e-beggars were all, trying to make drama out of it because there's nothing out there.
Well, and right or wrong. I mean, you know it, you see it, I watch it. The the
Mm-hmm.
the people that do the money shaking, come on. They're good. They
Uh-huh.
got people buying 50 memberships,
Yeah,
$4,000 a
tell me,
check.
how in the hell do some of these people who have no personality, and you know what I mean, purple people eater,
Mm,
how in the hell they even get 200 people or 100 people? And then people, I don't understand that. That's like a mystery to me. Like, how does somebody like somebody that's an insect, she's trying to be a queen of an insect colony, and she's bringing in 500 to 1,000, 1,500 people?
I die. When I saw 1,600 people sitting there the other night, I go, "What? I don't understand. I don't get
Me
it."
neither. And then she's always constantly saying, "Oh, thank you such and such for the PayPal," or "Thank you such and such for the $50, you know,
It's fascinating.
whatever."
And then you get the other one that's like trying to, she's like, "Yeah, I call." Can't even make it. I won't even make fun of it. But the other one that's like, "Yeah, I called CPS and so what are you gonna do about it?" And I'm like, "Whoa." Like, I'm
See,
gonna
now
take
when you
5
go,
feet
okay,
steps
but when you
back.
go real live, you're disgusting. When you go
Yes.
real live for just bullshit. Now, if you're calling CPS because it's a real deal,
Mhm.
I understand.
Mm.
But when you're calling CPS and cops to do wellness checks, friendship checks, CPS. I mean, you're taking away the resources from somebody that might actually, for that month, because it costs the state and taxpayers hundreds of dollars an hour for all those employees. I mean,
Right.
you're paying for the 911, because around here, if you send somebody to do a check, you just got to send a paramedic and a fire truck and a police officer. I mean, that's a lot of department resources being used to go do some checkups or something.
Mhm. Well, and they don't think about that. It's the selfish, what did that person do to me on here? And so now I want to make their life miserable. And so what can I do to miss yeah, I don't know. I just remembered hearing about it and saying, wow, did that person really pick up the phone and dial? And so you think to yourself, did that burner phone work one time? I don't think so. I think it worked more than 5.
But you know what's scary is because they have to know your address, they have to know your name. Because when you call in, from what I understand, you got to say the name of the person and their address. Even if you stay anonymous, I mean, you still got to know who they are so you can send them to the right place.
Mhm.
But and so that means not only do they do that, but they also got your information somehow.
Right. Well, and that's the
So,
scary part because,
hey, Darren.
yeah, what
Hi,
up,
Darren.
Darren?
Hi, Jennifer Marie.
Yo, Jennifer Marie, good to see you. I actually just talked to her the other day. I was like, "Where have you been, girl?" And so it's weird because, you trust, and I know some of these people run businesses on here and stuff. And so you trust
Uh
them and
huh.
you give them your information, right? And then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
they turn around and they do something like that. And so I don't know about you, but then I say to myself, do I really want to second time around give my information to that person? I would think twice if I was a subscriber, wouldn't you? I mean, I'm sorry if they feel a little bit like, why don't they come in my chat and chat? It's like, that's a real life thing you did. That's a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't be giving nobody my
Well,
information.
well, I'll just put it this way: I wouldn't be going for any life coaching or candles on here. That's all I can tell you. I mean, I bought things from Teespring for my favorite, channels. Like I got some T-shirts and I bought a hoodie. I got a hoodie last year from Petty University for Swoop. But I mean, that came from a third party merchandise that
Mhm.
has my information, not her directly. Like
Well,
she
yeah,
would.
I could see that's different, like, and there's people that'll say things, but they don't actually do things, and so, yeah, it's very
Oh,
wild.
to talk about a little drama. Did you ever hear where Darren went up on the Beehive and told B Tits that he was a bitch a couple
No,
weeks ago?
get out of here.
Zero
Yeah,
might
he's
have. I
funny.
think Zero has a clip, but Darren, he's our hero.
Yeah.
He went up there, waited 20 minutes, 20 minutes in the back room, because Queen Bee is supposed to be an open panel, just
Mhm.
because he went after B Tits and called him a bitch and was trying to call him, a faker.
Oh my, Darren has the best
Oh,
Irish
wait,
accent.
what is it when somebody, when they're being, what is, when you're being duplicitous, but I can't think of the word right now. It starts with a C. But before he could even get it out, they cut him off. So much for, being open panel.
Um,
I
You know what
think,
I did hear something about that. I feel like he went up there and said something to it's wild what they do over there. That's why I'm like,
mm-hmm,
listen, when she first came around, I was watching because I was like, all right, she stands for something,
mm-hmm,
and okay, great. This is wonderful. It's a place for people to go and hang out. I don't think there was really a place
right.
at one time. And then as it went on, I was like, oof. And then this whole like I don't know, there's just like a lot. Yeah, Darlene says a lot of doxing going on. It's just crazy.
Well, the thing is once she allowed Vaxes on there, and then she said she would never bring her back because she was, caught up. But then she brought her back because all the good people left her. I mean, she said, I mean, what little respect I had for her in the beginning, I haven't even gone in there to really. I only went in there the other, couple weeks ago because Darren was in there and I wanted to watch if was able to even do anything because I just, I don't know. I just can't stand. There's one person in this world I can't stand, and that's Faxes. Ugh, I hate her.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
know me, I don't say hate very often.
no, no, I know you don't. Well, and a lot of times, like, listen, we all kind of troll it, and so we
Hmm.
watch and listen, and we'll go down in the Discord and we'll talk a little bit because we're like, listen, we won't say things in front of like the Oscars or people,
Hmm.
and so we'll say things over here, and so I'll watch and I'll say to myself, oh my God, these people are for serious, like they're going for the gold, man. Like this is just,
Hmm.
I mean, like Laura just totally tried to desecrate Capone and Zero the other day, and I was just like, "Girl, keep going for like." She's saying things about him like as if he was like a lover of hers, and I'm like, "Dude, he looked at you like you were his mom or grandma. He didn't look at you like
Yeah,
he
and
was his
how
friend."
long has he been gone from her now? What, a year?
A long time.
At least a year. And because she has nothing else to talk about,
Nothing.
and she's not, smart enough to think about. Well, maybe I should go find a book to read about, and fake being a book.
He's just a
She
subscriber
brings up
too.
people that her new batch of people don't know. Nobody. There's probably people in there who has no idea who Capone or Zero is. They don't
Yeah.
even know the history. So when she's ragging them, then she's just trying to create new hate for these people because she ain't got nothing else to do. But all
Well,
she doesn't understand is she just makes herself look like more stupid than she already is.
and what's up, Reagan McNeil? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. Let's see. Yeah, well, it's whatever. She needs to stay away from drama. She just keeps digging and digging. That's just what it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
LaDonna said it, when you go real life, it's just, you can't, there's no coming back from that, really. I mean, it's just kind of like, you just got to lay your sword down and just, I don't know. I
Well,
always say, like, you're
after
dead.
I saw her gate crash a funeral of a murdered family, and then you know, then I saw her e-begging for a computer at Walmart. couple of Christmases ago.
Ugh.
I mean, that was one of the few times I actually watched her, and I was just like, this woman is beyond. She's reprehensible.
Listen, when she booted me from her disco for $1, I was like, girl, I didn't have any words. It was hysterical how it happened too, because I was just like, whatever, I was moving. There was a lot of things going on. So I just like disconnected my credit card from her thing. And it was no hard feelings. I was like, whatever. And then like 8 people left after me and she was burnt. You know what I mean? Like it, it's like that money crunch. And I didn't tell nobody to leave. I was just like, whatever. She was mad. I said, what?
And she still had,
Huck, Stacy, everybody left. And I was like, ooh.
And she still had the nerves to put up a Christmas wish list for college age kids.
Yeah. Girl, go buy your kids their own shampoo and Hanes underwear. What? I just don't understand how it's other people's responsibility to do the things. It's
right.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, listen, if people want to tip you, that's one thing. If people want to, and I don't throw shade at things like that, but when you put things out and you're like, buy my Christmas, ugh. There's just
if you're doing content, even if it's fake content like ghost hunting, like you got all your little gadgets, you're trying to look, real.
Yeah.
Or you're doing a walking tour of a city and you're showing history and talking about it. You're actually providing content.
Remember this when she says, I never do these things. I never do. What about when she went to Summer Wells? That was going somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought she didn't go anywhere.
Oh, and you remember how we were all waiting to see the meetup between her and MGL and it was so overly rated for just a 2-second engagement.
Ugh. These people are crazy. It's like there's a way to help scenarios and like do things to try to like make it a way, just I don't know. But to try to like insert the cops are trying to, help these cases and stuff. So it's hard when they just do distractions, I think. Look at this case with this little boy. What's his name? Was Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers? They say it like they wake up to it. It's scary.
Here's my problem. I'm a visual person. So when I heard like that case about the boy that was found in a suitcase, and I have children that age, I can't listen to it because I see my kids and I can't because as a mother, I would just get overly too emotional and
little Gannon Stalk, yeah.
So I basically can't listen to all the details. I just wait and hear that. But I'm always thankful that they find justice for the victim,
absolutely,
especially if it's a child.
Well, and a lot of times it's one thing to report the case. It's another thing to, provide information on it. It's another thing to make sure to keep the public aware. I get all of that. I understand it.
Right.
And to give closure. I get it. It's another thing when these YouTubers just pick apart, destroy, put things in their Patreon, tear it apart. And then, then you have the parents or the loved ones that are coming on here and they're devastated. And so then they go into some of these chats and you feel, listen, I've been around a couple of the parents. And so it breaks my heart and I see them. And so, I've always been an advocate in a way where I've seen the people and I try to stay as positive as I can around in their presence. Right. And so look at what was her name? Shanann Watts. The woman was murdered, her children. It was terrible. The parents were here. The brother was here. And so, you try to stay positive for whatever it is they're looking for answers. They're trying to do everything they can. And then you have these people that are just destroying and pulling apart the case. And it's like, all right, man, when do you stop? Like, when do you just leave the people? Like, it's hard because you don't want them to watch it. Right. And so they're just, I don't know.
You know what is sad is you heard about things like this happening way in the past because of YouTube, social media, and just people. They took Chris Watts' case, and they dragged that for filth for 5, 6 years. People would go a certain life coach went all the way back to, to the house and then stole a rock. And boy, she got drama because she picked up a rock
Oh,
outside of the Watts house. I mean, and then when they found out the Watts house was about to be sold, I mean, they have taken every little aspect of that one case and they have milked it till there's nothing left and then go find more stuff to milk it.
yeah. I mean, what are you
I
gonna do
mean,
who gives a rat's ass about a rock at the house? Like, what are you gonna do with that rock? I mean,
right,
really?
right,
So gross. Here, Reagan says
right.
she was continuously told to strike MM. Now I know why she didn't want to go that route. She burned too many bridges as far as I'm concerned. Not one of these so-called crime creators, especially this end of YouTube, don't give two shits about all these victims or missing. It's all about the moolie. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
unfortunately, it's sad, right? And they do collect
mm-hmm.
a lot of coin on this stuff. And I don't
Well,
know.
the reason Purple People Eater doesn't go after Makeup Mobster is because Makeup Mobster keeps Purple People's Eater's name out there. That's why she doesn't strike because she knows she's, you know, going against. That's one of the reasons why she would never touch Makeup Mobster, even though they go back and forth.
Mhm. Yeah, well, and she hates purple people. She hates that. Like, you can't, the relevancy, and that's in the mind of a psychopath, they say too, is the relevancy of, um, all of that stuff is they don't want you to silence them. And
Hmm.
so they love
Yeah,
that.
there's a fine line between narcissists and psychopaths, but they both have a lot of the same genetic makeup, I believe. The psychology makeup from what I've not a that's all from my reading on Google, YouTube, and just general knowledge.
Mhm.
We've all these days we all know way more about psychology and mental well-being than we did 30 years ago because of all the educational or entertainment that we hear about it.
I tell you, I've become so like smart by mistake on learning some of the things on here that it's fascinating to me because I'm like, what the, and then when somebody like her will say things and I go, wait a second, hold on. This is in like those minds that you just want to, like, somebody said like she should donate her mind to science. And I'm like, ew, this is like,
What do you
stop
mean?
it.
Why would you want to? It's probably eaten up with all the spray paint fumes.
Oh my God. Well, she's a narcissist. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's mind blowing to me at
I
the
don't know.
level of things.
Sorry, James. I don't know what you mean by Vikings. I know Vikings is a football team, obviously, but I don't remember saying anything about Vikings.
Yeah, right. Yeah, here we are. We had hockey in the title, homeboy. Keep up.
I was gonna say I think Vikings is football, isn't it?
Yeah, Darlene says the thing that pisses me off is they can ruin a case. Well, and that's just it, Darlene. And so that's why I
Actually,
say, like,
that is a scary thought. That a case could be, thrown out because some YouTuber went and faked some shit or took some information. And because, these days they find there's people out there who will pay money, that work in the legal system. And they could probably fuck up a case because, they got information and put it out there before it's been dealt with or researched or, it's something that could,
I feel
let
like I feel
somebody
like
guilty walk.
I feel like I don't know if it was alleged, but I feel like Bullhorn Betty found a water bottle back at the Mayahaki River, whatever, and she had said that it was um, Gabby Petito's water bottle, but we had found out later on that that particular water bottle was still in the van because Gabby's
Mm,
mother had told Duty Ron that that water bottle was still in the van. And so we were like, so
mm.
she ran that water bottle to the police department in one of her videos a long, long time ago. And allegedly, whatever it was. And so I was just like, did we ever find out about that water bottle? Like I remembered asking because I remembered watching it myself and saying, what the hell is that water bottle? Like, what was that even meaning? Like that she was trying to tie that water bottle to the crime scene. This was
Mhm,
before they had found his, body at
mhm,
the river there, whatever. And
mhm.
so finding out later on that that friggin' water bottle was still in that van, I was like, the stupid little things that they do.
Well, what about that girl, that woman who was doing Summer Wells, and she went looking, and she claimed she found bones, and she said she found bones, and they made a big deal about it. It turned out it was wild animal bones or dog bones or something. I
Yeah.
mean, you're in the hills of is it Tennessee? I
Mhm.
mean, you're talking about a place that has a lot of cultural, there people go hunting for food, sports, or whatever. So obviously, and it's a forest. Of course, you're going to find bones of, but I mean, she made an ass out of herself by showing the bones because they tore her apart once they realized that she had faked it to get views.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing what people will use to bring they don't understand that if you're getting the hype then, but then you're going to look really stupid afterwards.
Right. Reagan wanted me to read her rant because she left for Saturday,
Hmm.
but she said, the problem with me is that I wanted to leave numerous times and just felt bad for her. But there comes a point when you have to toughen up. The CPS was the last straw. See, a lot of
Thanks,
people felt that way.
thanks for coming in, Reagan. You made some good comments.
Yeah, she sure did. She was always good in the Discord, in Laura's Discord too. But she was a really good support for her for a long
Hmm.
time. And LaDonna, like she had a lot of really good empathetic supporters over the years.
Do
And
you know
so
what's Yeah, but you know what's funny is a lot of my good friends now because of Discords
mhm,
are former Laura people. I heard the names back when I would hear the names, but then I got to know
mhm,
some of them. I'm good friends with you, Texas Girl, Zero Jules,
mhm.
and a bunch of others that were former, Laura. And I've gotten to know you guys, and I think Laura really fucked up because y'all are some really good people.
I
And I
feel like a
mean,
lot
these,
of these creators that are really good creators have
hmm
really good, I don't call them fan bases, but like subscribers, people that are just really good. People that come to true crime are really good people. They are really empathetic
hmm
people. They have good hearts and they have good minds for crime
hmm
cases. And so I think when they finally get to the point where they've just had it, or they see through something, or they say, you know what? That's not quite right, or this isn't it, or this is what, and then they go, you know what, for this. And they had it. And so that's why when I read off the title of the book that I just started reading, I was like, you know what? It's
hmm
okay to say no because these people, when you've had it, it's okay. And that's why when these people say, I don't understand, or these people leave, or why don't they chat here anymore? Well, this is why.
hmm
It's okay to say no. It's okay to not go back. It's okay. Like, I think some of them need to, get on a plane, grab a book, and start, you know, sitting in their room and maybe reading something and coming to terms with,
hmm
you know.
Well, here's the deal about this community and other communities. A couple of years ago, it was like an unspoken rule. Do not go after the subs. Leave the subs alone. They're allowed to talk how they want in live streams. They are allowed to have an opinion. People who make comments on community posts, it seemed like there was supposed to be an unprotected, that if you're just a sub, you don't go on panels, you don't do a lot, then you should be allowed to go where you want and say what you want. But when drama became so dried up and creators started going after other people's, they take their chats and start talking shit about the people that are in just regular people that talk in chats,
Mhm,
or, they're talking and making comments. But when creators, that's the one thing I don't like about creators is they've actually taken away you feeling safe to be able to express an opinion, even if it's not a negative opinion or a comment, because you might be the next, put under the microscope and you might get torn apart. And it only takes one crazy to go after you and make your life hell because you
mhm,
made a innocent, you made just a comment. I mean, you weren't even a creator or on a panel.
right.
And that's how bad the world, social media, they now call people out there, they call them netizens, citizens of the net. They're called netizens. So to me, I've always looked at the netizens as a double-edged sword
Mm,
because they can do great good, but they can also do great harm.
mhm. That's good. I've never heard that before. I like that.
Well, see, I got so burned out on all the bullshit in drama, DC, and everywhere else because it was just getting pathetic
Mhm,
that I started following what I call Korean drama and Chinese drama.
mhm,
And because I was watching a lot of videos, I started hearing about the netizens.
mhm,
And that's what they're referred to over there. The problem with the netizens, apparently, especially like in Asian cultures like Korea,
mhm,
is they will go after anything, and they will connect. The thing that was sad is there's a lot of drama actors who have committed suicide because they live in a goldfish bowl over there in Korea. Because Korea and China, the citizens think they're allowed to just, if you look fat, they think they're allowed to tell you what to do and that you need to change your hair or what. And I mean, they go after the micro things. Over here in the United States, you wouldn't tear somebody down because they're having a bad hair day or their teeth are not straight or they hug somebody. Because over there, I don't know if it's just cultural, but they are called trainees. It's a factory system. They take these kids at 13, 15 years old. They put them in factories where they were acting K-pop. They are afraid to even hug each other or even talk to each other, male and female, because the netizens will do what they call ship them. Shipping is where they try to put two characters together. And these netizens, you think we're crazy here? They're really crazy. They make videos. Like there's these two well-known actors.
Oh God.
We don't know if they're gay or not, but it's not our business. But for years, because these two did a boy love drama, which was two boys, as you call it, boy love, because they did this really famous drama. Ever since then, they've been trying to put these together, whether they're together or not. But because of a citizen out there wrote a book about boy love in China, it's like anti-gay, like it's a no. They almost got in trouble in real life because of what a fan did. That's why I say netizens and people on the internet has been a great thing, but in some ways it's destroyed a lot of lives and families, through doxing or, fake calls or, trying to be an actor.
People can be whatever they want behind the screen. That's the scary part. Is
right. Right.
And I also don't believe, then you have the creators that are like, turn your camera on. I'm like, oh my, like that's a little aggressive.
Yeah, there's these some creators who are like, well, unless you cam up, you can't come on. Unless you came on, I'm going to call you a catfish, even if you are honest.
Right. Well, and there's the ones that, and I get it, but then they do it in like the easy, playful way where they're like, well, put your camera on behind the scenes and then I'll let you up. And so they do it.
And then you screenshot me, and then when I piss you off, you're gonna release
so it's
it.
like I can see you, no one else can, and so they can be. It's like a cop saying, "Well, I can have it my way, but we're not gonna have body cam."
Right.
So you kind of get it. Like I don't know. I've always been a person of like, hashtag I have questions, or, I've always been for the little people. And so like a lot of times, listen, a lot of people don't like me. A lot of people do like me, and that's fine. I'll be honest with you. I don't care either way, because that's just me in real life anyway. But, I mean, there's a lot of people out here that are chasing the love from everybody, and I see it, and I just sit there and I go, get over it. Like, I mean, you can't be liked and loved by everybody, but you should be respected by people. It's just, or you see the people that are like, oh, I just don't know why that person doesn't like me. And it's like, why don't you not be such an asshole? I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, I'll tell you what I do. Who I am.
Right. That when I first came around, I would troll I came across as a goofball because I would say things like, Queen Elizabeth is a reptilian, or the aliens visited me last week. I was just trolling.
I love that.
And I was just having a good time. Well, here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Hold that thought, reptilian. Lindsay's here.
Hi, Lindsay. I haven't seen you in a long time, Lindsay. Hello.
Oh, shit.
I'm doing my first panel co-hosting in 3 years?
Yeah, I feel honored, man. Hit that like button for not me, for LaDonna.
Well, I was thinking I don't mind doing this, once in a blue moon with you, because I mean it's low key. I mean, we're talking 13 people. Like we're really
we're ballers over here. Hit the like.
Oh yeah,
we're going to go to Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, let me give my cash app so that you can put money towards my. What was it? I've been saying. Can pay me on my PayPal so I can get me a Lambo? My GoFundMe for my Lambo. I've been using that one for years.
Oh my God, listen to this. I went to my uncle's in town, right? And so I went up, we all went to dinner the other night, and he was having dinner, and there was a Motown group there. And so I looked at my cousin Joey and I was just like, all right, man, like when the hell is the Motown group coming on? So then I ran out to the car really quick, and there was a big, speaking of Lambo, there was a Lambo out in the parking lot. So I said to the guy, I had to give him my ticket so he could go get the car really quick. And I said to him, all right, who's inside? Is it Mike Tyson? Like, who's got the Lambo? And so he looked at me, he went to throw the keys really quick. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I need the keys to my car. Like, I got to get something really quick. And so he goes, well, I said, well, I got to know, because now who's here? Because I'm inside with the table over here for 25 people. And he goes, oh, you don't need the keys to the Lambo. I was like, buddy, listen, I ain't going to come back if you give me the keys to the Lambo.
Did you ever see that TikTok where 50 Cent talks about how he was at some restaurant or whatever, or he was at some event with Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg was tired, he was ready to go, so he decided, and he went to the deal, and he took off in 50 Cent's car. The guy at the parking, the whatever you call it, the valet gave the keys to 50 Cent's, whatever, but it was Snoop Dogg. It wasn't like, but it was so funny when 50 Cent was like, Snoop, you gave Snoop Dogg my keys. Really? I mean,
No.
my problem is yes, I know who you are, but half the time, Snoop Dogg is up in he's up in the atmosphere. Do you really want him driving your, car in the atmosphere, and he's probably not even on your insurance?
Well, who was it that was in New Jersey that got pulled over and he didn't even have a license? I was like, oh no. It was I forget the guy that was pulled over. Somebody in the chat will tell me.
Do you remember the other, that kid that got, he was doing what they call fake flexing. He was trying to say that he was on a private plane, and he was showing pictures because he was sitting, and then he got called out because it was actually, I don't know if he was flying first class or business class. I can't remember who.
There was that girl back in the day, Little Tay, and she was in California, and her mother was a realtor. And you remember her?
Yeah, yes, I remember a Little Tay. She was boy, they rode her. I mean, that poor little girl got used for money.
Yeah.
If I was her and I got older, I'd be like suing my parents because she was too young to know, I'm sorry, but
mouth on her.
Oh yeah, but but she was also, you could tell the parents probably,
Oh, they
trained her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She was like, "This is my crib." Meanwhile, wasn't it the guy that owned the house was like, "Oh, hey, little girl, that's my crib."
Right. Yeah, it turned out the mom was just a real estate. I don't even know if she was a real estate agent. Maybe she was a lawyer or a manager. Not a lawyer. I mean, she's a secretary, or even if she was but still, do these people not think that they're going to get caught out? Like, this is my house, and then you find out. You remember? There were some people that were saying that this was their place, and it turns out it was an Airbnb that they were staying.
Right.
There's a lot of
history to sift through lately.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun. Yeah, but there was also a black rapper that was called out for faking that he had a private jet and some other stuff. And he was actually, maybe not broke, like when we say we're broke, but, he was maybe broke, But these days, even if I had the money, I wouldn't I wouldn't own one. I'd maybe rent one, but I wouldn't own, like a private jet.
So Gen X sent me something the other day. I was dying laughing, right? So
Uh-huh.
like, I used to mod for Law and Crime, like when the donkeys rode the unicorns back in the day. And so I was dying. So she sends me this thing because this girl, she's like up at 3 a.m, which is like I'm in Zeus land. And she's like, yeah, this girl, she used to mod for Court TV. I was like, no, she didn't. Or no, sorry, she modded for Law and Crime. And I was like, no, she didn't. And so, like all this, listen, it's like Sicily, 1902. All the liars come out, right? And I'm like, no, she didn't. Like, but like, who cares? I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't do it anymore. It's not a big deal. Like, it ain't something I'm gonna put on a resume. And so the girl's like, yeah, I used to do this back in the day.
That's the other thing I've always laughed. I know when I first came around here in 2019. I couldn't believe it when I would hear that people would pay money because they wanted a wrench, that they would go to a creator and suck up to them with money or gifts because they wanted to have the wrench because it was so coveted to have a wrench in somebody's chat. And
Yeah, it
I'm
is true.
like, and now people are trying to be a super wrench. I'm
Hmm.
like, the only reason I would want to wrench is because maybe if I do see somebody or I want to put a link up to you, that's the
Hmm.
only way I can do it in the chat. When I used to,
Right.
I used to be a link queen for somebody that, but he gave wrench to everybody, so it wasn't a big a
Well,
deal.
it's like the kind of thing that if somebody gives it to you, it's exactly right. They give it to you because you can drop a link really quick. You can help somebody out really fast. They're up on the panel.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a thing. And if you're, I remember like I was a mod for Ron. I've been doing it for years, and so I happened to be in law and crime. They needed help, and so they threw me a wrench. It wasn't like I was like, "Hey, can you please give me a wrench?" No, it didn't work like that. I wasn't like in their email box asking and begging. It just so happened that
Right.
I was there one day. And so that's what it was. And
Do you
it says
remember
that
when
just in the book.
Do you remember when MFW's wrenches or whatever were getting a lot of shit, so they started calling themselves numbers? They were
Yes.
like wrench number 52,
Oh my God.
50.
Yes, they were like mod number 47.
Yeah.
And there was a time where back in the day when we were told as Laura's people that we shouldn't be in chats because we were going to be targeted because of her. And so I was like, whoa, wait a second, lady, take your tool back because I'm going to be targeted because of your stupid behavior. It don't work like
Mm.
that. No way. Like, so that's all bets are off. So because you're an idiot on here, we all good people are going to get in trouble for you. No, I'm good.
Would you believe I got kicked out of a community, or I was, quote, shunned from a community, that used to be on used to fly around in a pirate ship? It was they kicked me out of the community because I was in an enemy's Discord. Doesn't
What?
even and there was no screenshot showing me saying anything, doing anything. Just the fact that my name was on the Discord list,
Yeah, that
and they
happened to me
found out.
once too. I hear you.
That's what I'm
I don't get
saying.
that.
That is so how some of these creators think that they become gods because they own a channel and they get a little popularity and maybe they have a small following. So they get these it's like they get this idea in their head that if you're, their people and you're supposed to be loyal to them and they own you. But
Mhm.
yet if you're, me, I've never sided up with anybody. You know
Right.
me. You've
No,
known me
you
for
stay in
years.
your own lane and you do your that's the thing, like, we all come here as our own person, and so
Hmm.
I know even for me, like, I'm my own person, nobody owns me, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over he I remember being in one Discord and then being a
Hmm.
member in one place and then being a member in another place, and then but because
Hmm.
I was a member over here and a member not over here, but I got kicked out of and I was like, wait, what? Like, how does that work? Because I ain't on nobody's team. How about this? I don't like any of yous. Mm.
Hmm.
But
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
yeah,
I hate you.
I always said I'm an equal opportunity hater. So how about that?
Well, somebody asked me because I used to be in the boy, it was all male dominated over there.
Yeah.
And someone asked me once, how is it you can sit up here and go after, these, males who think they're all that in a cup of tea, you know, the ones I used to throw tomatoes at, and I could be around them and talk shit about them. They could say things to me, and it never bothered me. And I really thought about it. I said, you know why? It's because I worked at UPS for 27 years. So you think y'all are assholes? Or, and you gotta understand, UPS is 60 to 70% men,
Mhm.
but then all the whole range of people, it's a mixed bag of everything. I worked with everybody, you know, gender,
Right.
I worked with everybody. And I worked
Mhm.
with, and my favorite boss was a female lesbian. And she was the best boss. She would go down for her people. Whereas some
Right.
of the worst bosses I had were also lesbian. And some of
Mhm.
my best favorite bosses were males
Mhm.
and worst bosses. But it wasn't the fact that they were male and female or lesbian or not, just the fact they were either an asshole or they were just a good person inside. It didn't matter
Well, I
what they were
mean,
on the outside. But
I
with
feel like
men,
in
I've
life.
learned, well, see,
Mhm.
the one thing I like about men is they're upfront. If they don't like you, they're upfront about it. Whereas women, sometimes I still don't understand how they can be that catty over petty shit.
Right. Well, and if you can be the kind of person in life that you can learn how to pivot real quick, you'll get by in life no matter what you do. And
Hmm.
so, but I mean, whether it's male or female, I just think that if you're gifted to be able to pivot, you'll make it in life no matter what.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. And so that's why I say, I don't know if it's, listen, you're from Texas, I'm from New York, I pivot.
Hmm.
That's just what I do. I mean, like maybe it's with a hockey stick. I don't know. I never played hockey, but I just feel like everybody has a right to, stay in their own lane and be their own individual person. And so,
Well, okay, versus say 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
mhm,
Of course,
mhm,
I graduated high school in 1984. But
mhm,
unlike my prior generation, I went to high school with people from New York and Chicago. I ate lunch with them. So
mhm,
I heard Bronx every day. I heard Chicago every day in my ears because I
mhm,
went to high school with these kids. I went
mhm,
to their houses. I grew up being around East Coast people, so I knew how to, hang out with them because I was raised around it. And here in Texas, you're around everything. And
mhm.
but here's the deal now, because everything has changed. Tell me where you cannot go in the United States and not find an Applebee's, a Burger King, a McDonald's, a Walmart, a Home Depot, a Lowe's.
Mhm.
You don't go to your mom and pop anymore. You go to all these, and you can go to anywhere in the United States and relocate, and you can still find all your favorite stores, Walmart, if that's your favorite stores.
Right.
Instead of you going, you need to find out who the local mom and pop is, of
Mhm.
which I try to do. I do nowadays, especially since Walmart's gotten stupid.
Right. Well, and a
The
lot
day
of
they
those
took.
mom and pop
Hmm.
are coming around more. Like a lot more boutique places are becoming
Hmm.
bigger. Like I even notice even like little coffee shops are becoming bigger than the Starbucks. I think people get more irate over paying $10 for a cup of coffee and they'd rather spend 3, so
I You know
it's
what? I
it's
am so cheap. I get my iced coffee from Aldi's. I buy the half a gallon. I
Mhm.
bring it home. I mix it over some ice and add a dash of milk. And there's my ice. There's my mocha iced coffee. I'm sorry, but I won't even pay $3. I used to go to Jack and the Cracker, other
Mhm.
places to get a coffee for like $3. But even that I don't do anymore because it only takes me 3 seconds to fill ice and pour some
Right.
coffee over it.
No, I'm the same. I do it myself now. I make them at home. So, I've become even cheaper. Like I was that person that spent that much money outside because I was working, I'm outside all the time working. And so I would stop and buy and spend $20 a day on stupid breakfast and, coffees and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm like, no way. I'll take the extra 5 minutes in the morning and make it so that I don't have to, but I'll buy a fancy cup once a couple of months and I'll justify it that way. I mean, not so much anymore because now I have
Hmm.
a collection of stupid cups that I don't like to, like, every time I see my daughter, I'm like, "Here, take this one, take this one, take this," and she's like, "Ooh, she hit the lotto over here." I'm like, "Oh my god!" My
Oh.
husband, every time my husband is like throwing him in the garbage, I'm like, "What are you doing? It was $35." He's like, "Are you serious? You paid that for that stupid thing?" I'm like, maybe I did or
What
didn't."
was that? What was that cup that everybody was going ape shit over last year, and the women were paying
Stanley Cup.
Stanley? Oh my god, I couldn't believe that people. I'm like, oh my god, are you really paying 50, $60 or whatever for a Stanley cup?
I went to Dick's Sporting Goods last year. I bought one
Uh huh.
and then I turned around and returned it. I was like, because I was gifted a really nice Yeti cup from Joe Murray a couple of years ago and his girlfriend Angela, and they had my name put on it, and it was so nice, and I loved it. And I was like, you know what? I
You
can't
see
even
my
the
cup?
Stanley Cup can't
This is
even
a
hold up to this.
this is a Bubba cup.
Oh, what is that? Let me see.
It's it's a Bubba cup.
Okay, that looks just like the Stanley Cup with the handle. Okay.
Well, mine is so old because it's been in. But I mean, this Bubba cup is 4 or 5 years old. We paid $30 for each of them.
And you probably use it all the time.
Yeah, but the thing is we've had them for 3 or 4 years, and now they're starting to look pretty bad because I mean because we've had them for years.
Mhm.
But when I heard I mean, it's one thing to buy a really good cup, but when you're buying something because it's popular,
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm
I'm
saying. Like
like,
when COVID happened, and then those
Mm-hmm.
stupid Starbucks cups became like you couldn't get them, and then they were $50, and I'm like, you know what? I couldn't do it anymore. Like work was slower, or we weren't working, and I was like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I can't do this anymore. Like we can't. And so I just thought I had a collection of them that I was collecting over the years, and I was like, you know what? I can't even justify them anymore. We were throwing things away. We were getting ready to move. We had so much going on, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's when I noticed I had so much shit. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something with these cups. Like, I just was collecting them after a while. I didn't realize how many of them
Mm-hmm.
I really had. And so that's
Yeah,
when I started getting rid of them.
well, I've finally come to, where you said it's okay to say no and have boundaries.
Hmm.
Well, I've been having to teach myself that it's okay to get rid of something, even though you might have paid money at the time.
Hmm.
But if you haven't touched it and you've moved it once or twice and you've had it for 5, 10 years and it's still in the package, or you don't, because I kept telling myself, I'm going to scrapbook my kids' stuff. I'm going
Hmm.
to create scrapbook baby books for them. Well, I know a friend of mine, who did all the fancy scrapbooking, paid all the money when it was the rage back in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
She said that her kids, when she gave them a scrapbook, their baby scrapbook, she said they looked at it for about 5 minutes and then they threw it in a drawer and it's not been opened since. Even though she spent hours and who knows how much sweat, blood, and tears and money that she spent on the cropping and this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And they don't even really look at it. So I
I
had to
feel
tell
you.
myself, you know what? If I do decide to just dump all the kids' baby stuff into a box and say, here, if you want it, it's yours. It's called, it's okay to let go. It's okay to say yes to yourself to get rid of all this dust collecting.
I was just talking to my mother the other day because when we were moving, I had to have that exact conversation with myself and my husband, and there was so much stuff that we had collected over the years, and we were downsizing, we were going smaller, and I said to him, "Listen, we have so much shit that we have to throw away," and I just said, "You know what? Like you said, it's if you haven't touched it and you haven't used it in 6 months." Throw it out. And I had the same thing. I had to say no. And I had so many things that I couldn't part with. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't. I had a whole life before him and I just had so many things I couldn't say no to, but I had nowhere to put anything. And so
Mm-hmm.
I got a whole dumpster, 10 by 10 dumpster, and
Wow.
I had to throw shit away. Like I didn't use the whole dumpster, but I just threw things away and it was out of sight, out of mind. I mean, I took a chair. I mean, just things that I knew I couldn't take with me. And so I
Wait
was
a
like, you know
second.
what? Throw it out.
Hmm. Hey,
And
Patrick, I'm sorry you're lost in our conversation. This is what women do. We're just going with the flow.
oh, Kitty Q, good to see all of you guys coming in. Sorry if we're just chatting over here, but hopefully you guys are catching on. What's up, Cleo? So yeah, I mean, there was just, and it's okay to say no to this stuff because it's I had and it was a lot of old memories. But you know what's so funny is like I was going through a cabinet the other day and I found concert tickets in 1994. Like what the I saved things that I had no idea I still had, but I probably threw away my birth certificate.
Hmm.
I threw away probably important stuff
Same
and I
thing
kept
here.
dumb shit. So it was just crazy. Like, I mean, we were also moving. I had time limits and things and crazy things going on. And so, yeah,
Hmm.
it was just nuts. But I mean, time,
Well, I've already told myself this spring break, I'm taking apart my daughter's closet because I was looking in there. She still has a Barbie sleeping bag. Well, it's not a Barbie theme, but it's a sleeping bag of that, it's pink, it's girly. She hasn't used a sleeping bag in donkey's years.
well, and
So
so I
there's
was
so
telling
much,
my mom,
and uh-huh.
no, I was so listen to this really quick before I forget, but hold that Barbie thought.
Hmm.
I was telling my mom because Christmas time we were putting the decorations out. And so she's got 2 storage units. And so I said to her, and she puts out amazing Christmas stuff.
Bye,
And she's got
Patrick.
stuff from like the 70s. And so I said to her, Ma, you gotta go here, you gotta get this and this. And so my father's he's getting older, he's tired, he doesn't want to put all this shit out because then he knows he's gotta clean it up and and I mean I'm busy working, so I don't have to go over their house and help them. And so he gets aggravated with me because I'm the only one down here. Everybody's
Hmm.
still in New York. And so it's a lot. And so then
Hmm.
I said to my mother, you know what, Ma, why don't you just throw it all away? Because I'm getting aggravated. And then, it's expensive to have these storage units, especially down here. It's expensive to live here. It's expensive to have these
Hmm.
units. And so she looks at me and she goes, I'm not getting rid of my things. Like, how dare you? And I said, wow. like, I get it. She's tied to the memories. And so she
Mhm.
doesn't want to throw away her stuff. And who am I to tell her to throw her stuff away? Like, she got really mad at me. And so I left her house and I was just like, man, I can't believe I said that to her. Like, she was pissed. And
Mm.
so I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave because I didn't mean to say it like that. But I
Mhm.
didn't mean she should throw her stuff away. But I'm going through this thing like I don't like clutter. I don't like things. I went through all of that a few years ago where I threw just
Mhm.
everything away. And so now if I see just a cup on the table, I throw it out. Like I go through this like, oh my God, I can't. Like my daughter went to college. I like just get rid of it. I don't care. I don't want to see it. Get it out of the house. Like,
Mhm.
my Valentine's Day flowers are still looking good, but I'm like, the minute that's it, throw them away. Like, I don't want
Right.
a friggin' thing extra around. And so tell me
Yeah,
about
I'm
your
getting
sleeping bag.
I'm getting there. I mean,
But it's
well
hard.
here well here's what kills this. It was like a wake up lesson, a learning lesson. As you know, my dad had an issue recently. He had surgery and now he's in a wheelchair and he's having to stay in a rehab. Well,
Mhm.
my mom and my mom, because she can no longer keep up with the 2 acres that they had, and she decided to relocate to another area of Texas, and she's living on my sister's property, building a tiny home. But what was sad is all the stuff that my dad has moved like 3 times. He's had it for 40, 50 years. I mean, I saw stuff in there I remember from my childhood. And some of it got used, some of it didn't. Tools, memorabilia, all kind. I mean, he kept everything because he grew up poor where things were, he never got to have things because he was poor. So when
Mhm.
he got older, he keeps it because, he grew up poor. And so they hang on to it for what if, or just the fact they paid for it. But what's sad is at the end of the day, my mother called in an auction company to come in and auction all this stuff away. It was all auctioned off and gone in,
Oh,
a lifetime collection. Because my dad was like, well, can't you put it in a storage unit? No, because I'm not moving it 300 miles for it
no.
just to sit dust to gather dust in a tool shed or something. Because the chances of you walking again is like it may be a miracle because
Mhm.
it may not happen.
Right. Well,
And
and you
that was
don't
a
ever wanna
hard
hear that, right,
that
exactly. You
right,
don't wanna know that because you're like, you wanna have hope, and I get it, like,
right,
especially you own
right.
a house, you know what I mean? So, if you have the room to put the things, I completely understand. For people that wanna keep things, memories, put that away, I get it. I don't have the room
Hmm.
for it, so I'm like, "Damn, I'm SOL, I gotta throw it out." Like, so
Well,
it's
here's
hard.
the problem. But then what happens when that relative dies? Then that's why have you ever seen abandoned homes
Mhm.
videos channel? There are places across the world where people, when they die, their house is still as it left because nobody wants to deal with
Mhm.
somebody else's life. They don't want to have to go through the process of throwing things away. That's why my mother said she will not be that's one of the reasons why she was happy with doing this. That way, when something happens, we don't have to go through behind her and, get rid of their stuff
Yeah, but
because
that's part
it's
of life, though. I mean, there is
right,
something to
right.
be said about. Yeah, but I don't know. I'd have to argue the fact that there is a part of like those couple of days where you do remember the memories and you go through like
Mhm.
I just had my dad's cousin's uncle just passed away. I guess that would be like my
Mhm.
great uncle. So he just passed away and like my cousins just were all together like going through the memories and their house that they
Mhm.
grew up in. And so like there's something special about that, I think. Like they were able to like upload on their Facebook like photos and things that they
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have seen, you know, 20, 30 years ago because they haven't been to that house that he owned upstate New York and, because they don't go up there because that was his hunting
Mhm.
house. And so, like, I guess there's a reason why. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, I'm not talking about like throwing away your family pictures, your birth certificate, those type of
I
things.
mean, there's like the
But
crap.
yeah, like when you find out your dad, it turns out your dad had like seriously, my mother could not believe because he had this big when they moved to this property, it was this garage was 1,500 square feet.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a huge garage, and he had all these shelves. At the end of the day, they were finding that my dad had seriously 20 flashlights.
Oh, like a lot of that kind of stuff. Okay,
He
yeah.
had, he had, you know, whatever the tool would be. He would have 3 or 4 of the same tool, not one, but
Mhm.
4 or 5. That
Yeah.
was what I'm talking about. Is like you said, coffee mugs.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Do you think me and my? I mean,
No.
I mean, the idea that you're grieving for the loss of a family member, but then you got to go in there and figure out what you're going to do with 20 flashlights and
True. Yeah, I
you
guess
know
that's like my
10
grandparents, like
hammers.
their basement, like they had a lot of shit in their basement. And so I
Hmm.
guess it could be like the same thing. You go down there and you're just like my grandmother was into crafts and things and like needlepoint and that kind, and then like it was just a lot of stuff. Like I guess that would be a lot to
The
go
kitty
through.
crew understands. She says it's rough because she had a fully furnished house, moved into it, and it was a lot of work.
Oh yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. And that probably takes a lot of time away from, especially if you're like a working person and you got to take a week
Hmm.
off just to get rid of all the stuff.
And
So
you know how expensive it is, and you know how hard it is now. Not everybody wants your stuff anymore. There's certain places they want only a specific item, and then there's a whole list of items they don't want.
it's
Like
crazy.
old calculators or old electronics.
It's
But then
funny.
there's
I was
people that
just
say,
talking. No, go
mhm.
ahead. Sorry. I was just going to tell you something.
"Oh, what? Go ahead."
I love stories
No.
like this. It's so funny. I was just talking to a girl that I work with the other day because we were talking about what was, because real estate's big, I guess everywhere. But like down here,
Hmm.
we were talking about this lady. She's selling this condo, and she's got a lot of shit in it, right? And so she's
Hmm.
taking pictures. LaDonna, you would die. She's got like prints and the Purple Rain and all of these things. And so for me, I start itching. I'm scratching. I'm itching. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
like ew. What is all of this stuff? Like, and so, but she loves it. Like, this is her home. And but like real estate,
Hmm.
you don't want to see all of that because you want to buy the home. You want to buy fresh painted
Right.
wall. Like this woman is like, oh my God, Dawn Marie, you gotta see my house. And I was like, oh, you're gonna sell it like that. So listen, you want the truth? Show me. Show me. Because I'm gonna tell you. So I look at her and I go, Eileen, you can't sell this like this. She goes, "Oh no, I want 585,000." I go, "Ew, you can't do that." And I'm
Mm-mm.
laughing and I'm dying and so like I'm starting to sweat, I'm itching, like I'm like, oh. So she's like, "What's the matter?" I go, "You have to you have to call a painter and you have to take all of this stuff down. Like my pits are
Hmm.
wet, like everything." I said, "I'm just uncomfortable. Like I don't like any of these pictures. You can't list this like
You
this.
have, well, you
You
have to
can't."
what they call, you have to unpersonalize it, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
I felt so bad for her. So she was just like, "Oh, I have to change it. I do, don't I?" I said, "Yeah, like you have all these kitchen tchotchkes everywhere, like
Hmm.
42 dish towels, and nobody wants to see it like this. I mean, you love it. That's great. I'm not knocking you as
Hmm.
but you asked me my honest opinion, and I'm just telling you, you cannot enter these photos to real estate like this."
Yeah, that's why when we made a mistake when we bought a house in Houston in Austin. We had moved from Houston to Round Rock, Austin. And we decided we looked at houses, we looked at houses, we looked at houses, and everything we saw that was used was like, okay, we could buy this house because the prices were starting to go up. Okay, I'm going to spend this kind of money, but then we got to turn around and spend that kind of money to update it because some of these houses had original kitchens from like 1997, and this
Mhm.
was 2012.
Wow.
Well, I found out, okay, well, why don't we build a house? Well, we built a house, but the problem is the first year you paid on the taxes on the land itself, which was next to nothing.
Mhm.
But the next year, they were going to tell us that our taxes were going to be 5 to 6%, and that's not even a fixed, and that's your taxes.
Wow.
Well, what do you do? Because the problem with the real estate is that house when we built that house, it was 220,000. But by the time the house was 2 years old, they wanted us to pay taxes on 350,000 because the house had gone up that much in value in 2 years.
Jeez.
And that was just starting to go up. And my husband and I were like, okay, we are not going to be able to survive because our mortgage was going to jump up like $500 if we kept going the way it's going. And we're like, what? And then we found out we had gotten into a water mud district, which is the water is through the district, not through the the local community. So it was twice what.
Mhm.
So we sold a house that was only 2 years old. We walked away with a huge profit.
Wow,
But
that's
we
good.
learned that was like a learning curve. You've got to do your research when you're buying new, even though you think you're getting a great deal. That's why when we moved here was like, okay, no, we couldn't afford a new house when we did 2 years ago because new houses, even when we moved here, the house I saw a new house here for 205 in 2012. It was a Cracker Jack box. It was
Mhm.
nothing new. It was because the fact that it was new. So we went ahead and just found this other house, and luckily it was good. We locked it in before it got to 200,000. So,
Mhm.
but I mean, now this same house, they want 425 for it. I could sell
Jeez.
this house for a huge profit, but where the hell would I go?
Right, exactly. It's like where you're gonna go. That's just it,
Right,
And you buy high, you're gonna move high. So
right, right.
it's hard no matter where, unless you're gonna sell high and you're gonna move somewhere where it's lower. So
Unless you're downsizing, like if you're,
right.
but me,
I
if I
had no
was a
choice but to downsize
right,
because the market here was going through the roof. And I had such a small window in the
mm-hmm,
time of the middle of the pandemic to like
mm-hmm,
make a move. And it was
mm-hmm,
like I had like zero time to do any of the things. And I was like, you know what? It was like do or die. And I was like, oh my God.
right.
I felt like I was in the middle of a movie. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. So, may the best man win. That's just what it was.
Well, I was ironic is because the market is so hot in the area that I lived in. Our house had two contracts on it within 3 days or less.
Mhm.
So I had two kids that were in school age. So when I came here, I had certain limitations. My husband said, "Do not go over 200,000." We both wanted an HOA. I wanted gas. We had to be in a good school district for the kids.
Mhm.
And I had 3 days to look at houses. The first thing I was going to tell you is when I walked into a house and if I saw that it was cluttered and I couldn't see the bones of it, there were some houses we walked in and we said, nope, we turned around and we left. I mean, we looked at 20 houses literally. And a lot of the houses, I didn't even walk through it because it was just so full of crap. And then I could see the dated kitchens and stuff. And I was like, nope, nope, nope. And you know what? We found our house, got it for 175. It had newer appliances. The lady that owned it was a real estate agent, so the house was virtually empty,
Mhm.
and it was in a great neighborhood, and we're still here. Because every time we think about moving, it's like, what are we paying? Why are we moving for just maybe another 500 square feet or something?
Right. Well, and you gotta,
So
listen, you have to. I feel like the comfort of your home is important. You gotta like your
right.
neighbors. I was talking to my cousin the other day when we were at my uncle's dinner, and
Hmm.
he had just bought a house a couple of years ago. He's a cop down here. He's got a rough job. His girlfriend, or his new wife, I should say, she's got a good
Hmm.
job. And so, but he's like, Dawn, listen, I love my neighborhood. He's like, every single one of my neighbors are police. Like I said to him, listen, you sound like you're more in love with your little, not only your half acre, your everything is around you. I said I couldn't be more happier for him in his like location. And because he was one of the ones that he was like the last one to get married, the last one to do all the things. And so
Hmm.
he's like in this perfect little like cul-de-sac situation. And so I said, listen, you're happy. Everybody's happy. We're good. You're good. Everybody's good. And he's like, yep, I'm so all set. I said, you know what? Now when are you going to have a kid? It's time. It's time to do all of the things. But it's funny. I was looking at the chat and then I was like, I remembered when the crazy purple lady when she painted her walls like black and red, and I was like, oh my God, like
Oh my God, the bathroom, that was horrible. What was it, red and black?
yeah. And then there was like this big black curtain over the bathroom window, and I was like, oh, I'm
Do
horrified
you
for
remember the headboard? Do you remember the
yeah.
headboard?
Hmm.
Somebody has pictures. Somebody took. I just died. I was like, okay, let me see this headboard. And when I saw it, I almost fell out of my chair laughing so hard. It was so bad
Yeah, we
looking.
were making jokes about it because I was like, "Oh my God, like at what point do you like bang your head on it and go, ow," and like your hair gets stuck in those
I
bangs.
mean, she used spray paint on. I never thought to spray paint furniture until I
Yeah.
heard she did it.
She spray
I
painted
mean,
the plastic furniture in the house and the black Christmas tree. Like,
wait, no, no. Didn't she also do a fabric chair?
yes.
I could have sworn she did a fabric
She
chair
had like a
too.
whole can of like black spray paint and just started spray painting all of the things.
And
And
remember when she spray painted her car? The little
ew,
convertible? I thought it was a convertible that she bought.
I was just dying because I was like, oh my god. She was on a Discord call once, and this was years ago, and she was telling everybody how she didn't shower for 4 days, and I was like, wait, what?
Oh,
I was laying
what?
there, I was just laying down, and I was just like, wait, what did you just say? She's like, I haven't showered in 4 days. I was like, oh my god, did you just tell the public this? Like, there was like 20 or 30 people on the call. I was like, ew.
Okay, I mean, I've gone a day or two. Like, if I'm not doing anything, I've gone a day or two, but I mean, I haven't sweat or anything. And there's even times where I don't wash my hair for 3 or 4 days, but that's because I'm not out there in the backyard mowing and getting, because when you're
I
older, your
died.
hair does, well, my hair, when you're inside the house and you don't go outside for 3 or 4 days, but I'm talking about my hair, but my body, I usually within, that still makes me want to go, "Oop."
I started thinking about it before when I was telling you that I was walking, like I was scratching and itching because I remember telling
Mhm.
somebody, I was like, ew, I started itching and scratching. And I was like, that's when I knew that there was nasty people on here that just, how did they get through life? Like, that's why when she was ragging on Zero, like the other day, and I was just like, why? Like, you don't want us to go live and say, like, when we turn 50 something years old, is this what we want to be when we grow up? No, we don't want to do that. Stop it. Stop e-begging. Stop it. Stop making fun of people for doing things in chats and comment sections. Stop that.
Mhm.
Told people you, and then it was just rolling off of the, oh god, I couldn't. I used to get so upset because I'm like, you need to be nice to people because this is not going to be very kind to you later on.
Well, she's scraping the bottom now, they say, because I don't go and look.
No, and she keeps saying that nobody wants to come and chat in her chat, and I'm like, but this is part of that whole where people are listen, I hope more people buy the book that I'm reading. So
What was the book called again?
it's Good Boundaries and Goodbyes by Lisa TerKeurst. It's TerKeurst, I think it's called TerKeurst. Lisa
And by
TerKeurst.
the way, we do not have any affiliation with this book, so we're just
No.
telling you this. I'm just messing with people because
No.
everybody. Well, on here, not us, maybe because we're so small. But if you were on any other panel, they'd be like, "Well, what's the catch? Are you selling the book? Do you have a
Not
link
at
to
all.
it?" That's why I was
No.
laughing. That's why I was
No.
being suspicious.
I appreciate that, though. No, I have no affiliation with her at all. And on the cover of the book here, it just says, loving others without losing the best of who you are. And it just means a lot to me because, I went through something like a couple weeks ago where, like people were just telling me, like, just don't lose who you are at the end of something. And, like I kind of do. Like sometimes I'll be honest, LaDonna, like people do get the better of me. And I am a nice person. And so I let things go and go and go. And I'm like, you know what? I bet I probably should just say no. Like, what does it mean for my mental health if I don't protect my peace? Or,
Mhm.
I'm always out there telling people to stick up for themselves or, protect the victims and do this and do that. But if I don't stand up for what I believe, then
Mhm.
or what about the other person? And I think to myself too, like if there's somebody else that's, trying to defend the victims and I don't think that they're being equally fair on something, does it mean that I'm wrong and they're right? No.
Mhm.
I just think they're just not, I don't know. That's why I kind of outline these things. And I was just reading what this lady was saying. And I was like, you know what? There's 7 things that I could outline. And so I did.
As a matter of fact, there's a book by Jordan Peterson that I need to sit down and read. But the problem with Jordan Peterson is he's a college professor, so his book is almost like university text level. So when I go to read that, I need to do it when it's quiet and I'm being contemplative. Whereas, like it's not like it's a magazine that you get, or some of the books that even though they're about topics, but they're more user friendly because they're in a more common language.
Mhm.
Whereas his book, I started reading it and I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be college level. So it's one of those books that I put on the bottom of my pile of books that what's sad is I really don't read hardcover hardly anymore. I read everything on Kindle, but
Yeah.
I haven't read a lot of Kindle lately because, I've gotten more involved in, making friends with Discord and going around different YouTubes, and it's
I
more
tell you,
fun to engage. Huh?
do you remember when Republican Ash used to say Discord is the devil? I'm like, no, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. Discord is what you make it. Like, I feel like we've created such a good space there with people like-minded that get along. And I was like, I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen Discord as a bad place. So I don't know what the hell she was talking about.
And you know what's great about Discord is like I'm in one Discord and it's all just about politics. Like
Mhm,
we're all putting together what we see right now that's going on, that we're like, hey, check this out, check, because there's so much going on now. There's so much shaking up.
mhm,
And it's just kind of been interesting to see what different people find. And, we're all kind of like minded. So we're
right.
definitely like minded, so that we're not really in there fighting. We're actually there in there just sharing information.
I feel
And,
like you can find your places, like you find
hmm
what you focus
hmm
on. And I've always said that you can find what you focus on. And if that's what you want to talk about, you'll find it. If you want to talk about what we talked about today, you'll find it. We can create it.
hmm
I'm a conversationalist. I've always been one. I've always
hmm
liked to,
See,
shoot.
so am I. So I think that's why you and I, we could probably talk
Yeah.
about anything and everything and not have to script it.
No, I don't like a scripted conversation, and
Me, I can't. That's why when you said, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, let's just go with the flow, because if I
yeah.
try to script it, or we have a topic that's, you know, I was in a, years ago, right before COVID, I was in a small channel, but it was also about people with brain diseases, or they've had accidents and they have a lot of disabilities.
Mhm,
So I was just her assistant to help her with some of the stuff, because she'd be trying to talk about. She was talking to these different people. There was always only like maybe 10 people in there, but it was a little community where they could go there and talk to each other, get acceptance, because people, when they see them, they see the person that's had, a stroke, and they can't talk very well, but there, nobody knows that you had a stroke unless you tell them, because you can still talk.
mhm,
So we did that for a while, but it was a niche. So it wasn't really scripted, but we would want to talk about certain topics. And because it was all medical, she would have to do research. So I was there just to kind of help her with, modding her chat and watching the chat.
mhm.
So I enjoyed doing that for a couple months. But then after a while, I was like, I can't do this no more, because it was like 2 hours a day, 2 or 3 hours of a big chunk of my day. And my husband, after about 3 or 4 months of that, I was like, I can't do that no more. That's why I realized that if you're a channel creator and you're doing it with a purpose, it's almost like a job, even if it's not being paid. It's a job.
Right.
So
Well,
that's why when you said, what do you want to talk about? I was like, let's just go with the flow.
Well, and it's always easier like that too, and it's like, I've always been in the hair industry. And so I've always been that person that, I've always had conversation with people. I've always had to start a conversation. I always feel like to be on the inside of trying to help somebody make them feel good about themselves, you have to be able to communicate and talk and, do all the things and even for me, like had always been the person that was around somebody for 2-3 hours at a time in an intimate setting and things. You have to be able to have a one-on-one back and forth. And so for 30 something years, I've always been very, you know, fortunate to be able to do that. So it meant a lot to me when you were like, hey, let's panel up and do this. And I was like, you know what, great. And listen, I don't care if there's 9 people in here or 90 or 1,000. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to stop talking or,
hmm
and I love when the chat's in here too. It means a lot, with people being,
Well,
active.
because I'm like you, I like to talk to people, but because I no longer work, and talking to teenagers and puppies gets a little old after a while. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I used to have a job, or because when my kids were younger, I would talk to moms at soccer games, gymnastics, you know, at the school when we were volunteering. But since I don't do any of those anymore, because I mean, they're teenagers and they don't do it,
Mhm.
I mean, I might say hi to these ladies on Facebook, but it's still not the same engagement.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
I thought to myself, well, you know what? Maybe if I just panel up once in a while, that way I can get like we've been talking, I don't know, what, hour and a half,
Yeah.
and even though it feels like no time.
Right.
But then
Exactly. And that's
we've
how it
been
should be.
talking, huh?
That's how it should be. I mean, Darlene says that you don't want it to feel forced. No, it should never. I always feel like a good conversation should feel like moments. It should never feel like, oh my God, like you're sitting waiting for the doctor to come in. Like, You know, I mean, I had a doctor's
Well,
appointment the other day, and because I had a great conversation with the lady next to me, she was just like,
mhm.
"Oh, I'm already being called in the room," and I was like, "We've been there for," and we were there for over an hour, but it didn't feel like an hour, which was nice for her because it was probably the worst hour of her life hadn't she sat next to me. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
It was nice to be
Right.
able to talk with her, which was good. What happened to
Well,
I don't know
I
what happened.
told you, well, my friend passed away a couple of years ago, and she and I used to panel together, whether
Mhm,
we would go on her channel or we would panel together and go to our little friends' channels like at 3 o'clock in the morning. And once I haven't been able to find that dynamic again, and I just got thinking maybe Don Marie and I might have that dynamic where we can talk about things and
mhm.
have a discussion. And I guess my feeling, I went with my gut. That's why I said it to you yesterday. It was like, hey, let's go live soon. And here we are.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's good every once in a while. And I said this from day one when I started this channel back in November. I said I wanted to
Hmm.
be able to give a place to where people could come and feel safe and have a place to come and chat and hang out. And we would talk about the old school. And like I'll still come up here and I'll still talk about things from New York, and we'll still talk about like growing up in the city. But I'll still want to have my friends to come up here and talk and just have conversation because that's really who I am and what I do. And I said to my dad the other day, I was just like, we were going for a walk in the neighborhood, and he was just like, I was just talking to the guy that was living over here, and listen, I shoot the shit with my dad all the time, and I keep
Hmm.
him going. And my dad was just like, he loves talking to me, and my father's he's gonna be he gets involved in all these community things in his neighborhood, and it's so funny. Like he's got a concert coming up where he's going to be singing like the oldie songs, and I can't wait to go
Oh,
see.
really? Oh,
It was
that's
so
going to be
funny.
fun.
Madonna, he says to me, he bought us all tickets to go to the show. And so I'm all excited. So I said to him, where's my tickets? So he goes, oh, I got them on the refrigerator. I put them on the refrigerator for you. So I was like, all right. So I look at them and I go, hey, why am I sitting in this row? And then my mother, she's sitting off to the side. And so like I'm looking at the theater where they have in it. And so she's like so she's like got these specialty seats with like the crew, the people. And so I said, I'm not far. I'm like in the fourth row. And so I said, excuse me, sir, why am I sitting over here and I'm not over where she is, where the special people are? And so he goes, you have like a normal person seat with your husband because like you're a guest. And so that's where, so he's looking at me like, why, you got a problem with that? I said, yeah. So I said to him, yeah, excuse me, you got a manager here? I got a problem with that, sir. I want to know where's my, I want to sit in the front row because I want to watch you. You're going to be singing like Frank Sinatra. I want to see it like right in the front row. So,
Oh, wow.
or I
He's
want to
going to
sit,
be crooning, huh?
yeah, or I want to sit where my mother's sitting. He goes, she don't want to sit with you. You sit over there. I'm like, oh, whatever. So I gotta, take pictures, do all the things. Darlene says stoop talk. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's gonna have all his friends and his compadres or whatever. But
Hmm.
I gotta be the daughter, and I gotta pipe down a little bit and just watch.
Uh-huh. Have you priced concert tickets lately?
No, why are they through the roof?
Oh, somebody in one of the discords was saying that they were pricing Metallica,
Oh
and
my,
that the cheapest ones were like 1,000. The cheapest was $1,000. So I did a little research, and there's this K-pop group that they're coming to America,
mhm.
and not that I'm going to go, but when I saw the prices being 1,500 to $3,000 for the front, and this is for a concert, I'm like, what do they think you're going to do? And that's for a ticket, not for a bunch of tickets. What do
Jesus.
they want you to do? Sell your blood and give them your first? I mean, 15. I mean, and this group will fill that venue with
Yeah.
probably several thousand. And I'm just telling myself, so if this venue holds anywhere between 2,000 plus people, because they're going to easily have several thousand, and each person's paying them a minimum $1,000,
Mhm.
I'm like, what the fuck?
That is crazy. I feel like the
Yeah.
last concert I went to was Rascal Flatts, and I think it was like in 2022, and we went to like an amphitheater, and it wasn't anything crazy, but you know what? I
Mhm.
think the tickets were still maybe like $65 for lawn
Mhm.
seats, and And then we've gone to like a bunch of country concerts, and we've had like, like I had clients that had given me tickets to like pit, front row, this, and I've gotten very blessed with getting good seats, and it was always through somebody who had, and that's the only way I'll go to a concert is if I've gotten, or I'll just get lawn seats and I'll sit in the back. But the only problem that I have with the lawn seats is that you get the chaotic kids that are back there, and I'm like, I feel too old for this. I'm like, you know what? I'll tell my daughter, I'm like, yo, here, take these and go with your friends. Like, I'm too old for this shit. And she's like, all right, fine. I'll tell you when so-and-so has tickets with their mother and there's so-and-so with them. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just pick you up at whatever time.
You know what? I think the last concert I went to was 2017, 2018. It was to see Skillet, which was in a theater, Skillet. And the tickets, I think, were at that time only $30 a piece. And we still thought that was kind of pricey. But it wasn't a headliner like Metallica. But I'm just like,
that's expensive, $1,000. I mean, Jesus.
That's minimum. That's like the cheapest. That was like nosebleed.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that. That's insane.
I mean, who knows what, the scalpers would be charging for you to get into, the mosh pit.
Jesus, $1,000. And they're old. I mean, God, they're probably.
Right. But I mean, they're still Metallica, they're still legends. They're legends.
Right.
But
I mean, if you gave me their tickets in the 90s.
Yeah, gotcha. Especially when they were still hot and, very hot.
Yeah.
Now it'd be like seeing, some geriatric. It's almost gonna be like a reunion geriatric. I'm just being honest, because these guys are in their 60s.
Oh my God. I tell you, it's fascinating to me with these, and some of them still got it, man. I tell you, they are good, but I wonder how much of it is still, are they really singing? Or, what's funny is every year we get tickets to Universal Studios. And so we'll go, they always at Mardi Gras this time of year, actually right now, they'll have, they have like a month long of concerts that go on there. And we've seen so many, I saw Donna Summers. I saw the Beach Boys. We saw so many different people perform at these different Mardi Gras shows. And so like, I'm just trying to now think of like, and then they had like certain like newer, but a lot of like old school people would be there. Like, I think it was even like, who was there one year? Lionel Richie. It was so funny to see some of the ones that were there. And then you see some of the young kids that are in the audience. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even think you know who that is. John Stamos was on stage with the Beach Boys. I remember telling my daughter, I was like, oh, he's so hot. And she was like, who is that? I was like, that's the guy that's Jesse. And she was like, oh my God, who is Jesse? I was like, never mind, forget it. There's too much to explain.
That is so funny because, I told you a long time ago, I'm 58 and I had my kids when I was 39 and 40. So they're, 17 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, my daughter said something to me, and I said, it was about a year ago, I go, no more wire hangers. I was just so frustrated with her. And she was looking at me like, what? So what was beautiful is I could bring up YouTube and show her a little segment of that movie. So now, when she calls me Mommy Dearest, she knows, she's being facetious.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I say, I'm going to be Mommy Dearest. And she'll be looking at me and go, ha ha, because she's laughing at me. But you start realizing, my son did not know who Elvis Presley was when I asked him the other day. And just to test my son the other day, because I was talking to somebody in Discord and I said something about obey your master. So I looked up at my son and I was about to tell Alexa to play Metallica. And I looked at my son and I said, by the way, do you know who sings Obey Your Master? He goes, I don't listen to your music. I'm like, oh my God, my son doesn't know who the Beatles and Metallica is. That's the music he owns.
Right. He doesn't even know who he is. Right. I feel like Priscilla Presley is actually going to be here this weekend but she's not going to be far from here. I know somebody in one of the salons was talking about it this week and they were like, did you know that Priscilla Presley was going to be here talking about Elvis? I was like, get out of here. No way. How cool is that? Like, I mean, she's really still on tour. Like, what in the, like, yes, she's going to be talking about like her life being Elvis's wife. I said, oh, that's cool. That should be fun.
Oh, that would actually be kind of cool if she was actually, sharing some really good anecdotes about them.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's got to be different. It's better than sitting with, somebody that you.
Bull.
Yeah, I mean, you got all
Bullhorn
these.
Betty.
Oh,
Bullhorn.
God. Could you imagine? No. What in the like? Could you imagine? This is the thing that bothers me the most about the things that they did during all of the things. Is like
Mm-hmm.
you're the neighbor of one of these criminals, whatever, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to be in your house listening to that. Is that fair to you?
No.
That's the part that bothered me. Like, I'm all for like pressure campaigns and everything. I get it, but go direct it at the police stations. Go direct it at the news channels. Like, why are you standing outside these friggin' neighborhoods where people have to work 9 to 5 jobs?
Where was it that Bullhorn Betty and MGL went to? Was it the Tennessee FBI headquarters?
Yeah, but it was
And it
after
was,
days and days of them being outside of the Wells house.
but what was funny is then when they went to the parking lot of that place, it was like crickets, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there was nobody there, right? And so it was kind
Right.
of pointless. But I think it was at the time supposedly of when they went to the Quentin Simon house and they were standing in the street with that guy Dolly or whatever, and they were
Uh-huh.
yelling. And the lady came there, and then he pulled the bullhorn out of her hand, and I mean, it
And they
was like
got
all this.
arrested.
He got arrested,
Yeah.
and there's all this ruckus going on, and back and forth. And I was just thinking, like, I remember the neighbors were coming outside, and they were just like, "Hey, can you please stop?" And they were driving by, and they were like, "Can you please stop?" And I was like, "Oh my god! Like, what is it like to be a resident on this road right now?" Like, I would be like, I would just riot. I mean, what are you doing over there? You dropping a teapot?
Sorry, I dropped the servant's phone. I was unloading the dishwasher for a minute.
It's okay.
What was the name of that? What case was it that they went and interviewed the neighbor, and it turns out she was the babysitter of the kids that were that were missing, and it turns out she was lying about it. I mean that's the kind of stuff where they go
What?
and
I don't
interview
remember
people
that.
who. That's where they get dangerous. We were talking earlier, where they're interfering with cases when they go. It's like when Laura was gate crashing that murdered family's,
Ugh.
funeral. I mean, luckily it turned out, the son had done it and they caught him and all that. But what if they hadn't and they were looking and Laura's out there trying to interview neighbors and, I mean, what if she got information that got exposed that could have been essential to the case?
Right, and wasn't she the one wasn't Laura the one that actually called Madeline Soto's mother?
To be honest with you, I don't know
I'm pretty
because
sure allegedly, like, supposedly she was the one, like, she called her and responded to an ad that the woman had on, and I was like, "Why are you calling this late?" Like, I mean, regardless of whatever position she's in and her daughter was just murdered, like, why are you calling her? Why are you responding to her Facebook? Like, stop. Just I mean, these are the things that these people will go through just to say, like, "Oh, I spoke to her," or "I know her. I talked to her." You're an idiot. Like, don't do that. Stop calling these people. Oh my god. When I heard
right.
that, I was like, of course, like, I believed that she would do it because why not? I mean,
Well, see, that's the mindset of normal people. Is if we see a phone number for a missing kid, but because we don't have anything to do with it, we wouldn't think to pick up the phone and call them. And
would never.
I wouldn't. I mean, unless I actually had something to say about it. If I happen to be, you know. And then like that kid in Dallas, ate Cash. What was the name of that poor
Oh,
kid that?
Cash Gernon. Yeah.
Yeah, that local idiot who was a fan of MGL went and drove by the place,
Oh my god.
and they were trying to talk her into going to the door. I'm like, we got some sickos in this, on YouTube and other
Well, and
areas.
then it's sad when the family member of the actual crime victim is telling that person, "Can you please stop?"
hmm
I mean, do you really need to be addressed by I mean, does that make you feel good about what you're doing when the crime family when the people of the when you have to be addressed by them? I mean, do you feel vindicated? Like, you're an idiot. Why are you getting involved? Like, I don't know. I just thought that
Okay.
was crazy. But she
Well, let me ask you.
never made a candle with the don't,
So let me ask you this. I remember hearing some criticism about a mom of one of the murder victims or missing kids, one of them, where they were saying that the mom was not acting like she was devastated. I'm like, how do you not know she's devastated? maybe she's just trying to hold it together because she doesn't know what is wrong with it, because I think the child was still missing or is still missing.
Oh,
But they were trying to, it was like these people who have no degrees in, body language, psychology. They're trying to be YouTube psychologists and body language experts because the mom was on a news station feed or interview or on a YouTube channel, and they're just trying to get the information out there about their son.
so
But you're
gross.
sitting there trying to, it's like, did the mom do it, or something. Like they're
Right.
looking for the murder. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, I just don't understand how you could go to a victim and or their, like you said, their loved one, their parent, their sibling, whoever it is, and
Hmm.
start to even try to chastise them or say how you think they feel when it
Hmm.
is that they're going through something, or say, oh, this person doesn't have empathy, or this person doesn't. How do you know? You don't know what they're fighting behind the scenes, and it's not your damn business to even insert yourself in what's going on. Like, yeah, it's mind-blowing to me. To Yeah, they were doing that with the mother of the Sebastian
That's
Rogers.
it. That's it.
Yeah, I remember that because I did hear that, and I was just like, that's gross. How this mother is grieving and what she's going through. If she wants to keep a tough exterior to the world, that's her business. Like, I have family that's going through some things, and I'll tell you right now, if they keep a tough exterior, that's their business. What they do behind closed doors is none of your freaking business. That's what it is. I mean,
Yeah. Do you remember that case where the husband tried to hang himself and he became a vegetable?
mm-mm,
And the mom was a big influencer on Facebook.
no,
Okay. Well,
no,
the mom turns out she's into this certain lifestyle of eating, certain way of eating, and so just like with Summer Wells and what Chris Watts, everything that this woman did, they tried to destroy her. Here she was, her husband's no longer, he's in the hospital as a vegetable. She has young kids. She still has to pay the bills. So her livelihood was being a makeup creator, I think, on Facebook. And netizens and other people were trying to go after her and basically destroy her life. And then it was a whole circus with the family involved. It was, and then later he passed away. But you don't know what that woman's going through when her husband is. She found her husband, on the floor of the shed, and
right.
had to, and he's in the hospital, and she's looking at medical bills, and she's looking at having to still try to raise kids and all kinds of stuff. But then she's getting hate and all kinds of hate from the family members and from netizens.
Well, it's like
It's
I
just,
heard that TLC girl came back and she has a lot of things that are matter with her and things. And so like she's
hmm,
somebody you don't met, just leave her alone, like just
hmm,
she wants to have her own channel and talk about let her be. And you got, purple people person over there saying she's fat and this and that. Why are you saying that? You don't do that.
hmm,
Leave that girl alone. Like, you don't know what's going to take for somebody to just break and go into that bit. There's just people that prey on people's weaknesses, and you don't know what's going to
hmm,
make them snap and go back. And so I'm not down with that. And so,
hmm,
you don't have to be a bully, but if you're somebody that can bully a bully, then I commend
hmm.
you for doing that, because at the end of the day, what she said the other night, I was like, I'm gonna watch you now because I don't like that. Leave that girl alone. She went through a lot of,
Hmm.
she's not well.
Hmm. The way I say it, that's why I like certain creators to take the stand of, you know what, this person is going through something, illness, or they're not, or they are Lulu. We're
Hmm.
not going to address them. We're not going to give them any, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not. When a creator can actually say, look, take a stand and actually stick to it, then that's the kind of people I want to, follow. Or if I was in a situation where something happened in my life, those are the kind of channels that I would rather talk about my whatever than, an insect queen or a
Right.
bullhorn boogie.
That's like when I first started watching Wendy V a long time ago, I was like,
Mhm.
yo, this is the kind of lady that I'm getting around because she'll call it out. She don't give a rat's ass. She sees it for what it is. And she's like,
Mhm.
come on over, have a seat, you, have a seat, you. Let's
Mhm.
begin. I was like, oh,
And
yeah.
I've been in her, and she was the enemy Discord I was in since 2021. I'm still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't take. That's one thing we can say about Wendy V. She calls it out.
Mhm.
She stands behind what she says, and she basically gives the truth with your own words.
Your own words. Exactly
But
right.
but once she finds out her locale or the person she's talking shit about because of their behavior, not their looks, their behavior, but when
Mhm.
she realizes they're going through something or there's really something upstairs that's really going to affect them, I've seen her walk away and just say,
Yeah.
hands off.
Yeah.
Because she's got she's got empathy and she's also got common sense.
Yeah. She
That,
does. She sees
that
it.
I don't need to be saying something to this person because you don't know how it's going to affect them.
Right. She can play, she can have a good time, and most of the people that she does it to, she knows they can handle it, so she'll
Hmm.
do it, but she's so good at calling it out. And I'm like, damn, like she's the people's people. Like she'll say it for exactly what it is. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like I'll be busy working, so I can't say anything, but I'm like, when you'll say it. Like she said, like my hands are all wet, but I'll look down and I'm like, oh hell yeah. Like there comes a video, or like Zero Jules, or she got a video waiting, and I'm just like, oh hell yeah, because I don't know how to do all those things. I'm like, whatever, I'll
And
be half asleep on the couch doing a
but
little
then
stupid upload with
Yeah, but
music.
then you know what kills me is they'll say negative things about Zero Jules or they'll say stupid shit about Wendy V. Well, yeah, Wendy V goes live on a Friday night for Australia time, whereas it's American, it's breakfast or lunch. But yet she's on TV, she's on YouTube drinking beer and talking shit. Yeah, because it's her Friday night. It's
Right.
her happy hour.
Yeah, so
That's
what?
why sometimes I'm like American. Some, not all of us, but some Americans, they think YouTube is all American. That everybody's on American time,
Right.
and they don't realize until one day you get a wake up call of like, by the way, I'm drinking a beer because it's 7 o'clock in the afternoon here. You know, I don't have any kids in my house, so and I'm not on I'm not on YouTube in your face.
But she
Eh,
doesn't do it in a way where she gets so ossified to where she,
Right,
like, gets dumb. I mean, she doesn't.
right.
She has a couple of drinks, and then she knows her limit. She gets off, or she'll probably, but she don't make a habit out of it. It's just what I like.
And the other thing about her is she really doesn't go live unless she actually has some fun stuff to talk about. She's not going to get on here and just make up shit like Purple People Eater
No, no.
or
She's not inserting herself in something that is just not.
right. So that's why we're trying to tell y'all there's a lot of bad eggs out there, but there's some good eggs like Wendy V for sure.
Yeah.
And believe me, she doesn't take any PayPal. She doesn't do any of this, buy me a coffee.
No.
She doesn't have any kind of she refuses to,
Listen, some people like to knit. Some people like to listen. Everybody has a thing that they like to do. People like to do
Mhm.
crossword puzzles. People listen. I have a coffee app. I have a cash app. It's not a big deal. I'm like, listen, you want to throw me a tip? Somebody told me a long time ago because I wasn't going to do any of those things. I was like, nah, I'm not going to
Mhm.
be like that. I'm not going to do membership. And then I was like, and they were like, no, what? No, no way, Dawn, do it because you deserve to be tipped. I said, all right, fine, perfect. I'll put it there. If people want to do it, they can do it. If they don't, I will. Listen,
Mhm.
you don't ever have to give me a penny. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't make me. It doesn't break me. It helps me. It's sweet. I love it. I
Mhm.
appreciate everybody. I appreciate hitting the like button. I'm in chats all the time. I'm like, hit the like button, subscribe, like do all the things because I believe in community. I believe in
Mhm.
people being there for one another. I really do because
Mhm.
I'm the first person that I come to YouTube to look up things. I come here for to be friends with people. I do. Like I
Mhm.
love the people that I have met on here. I do. And I
Mhm.
dislike the people that I have I've met some of them and I'm just like, yeah, I'm all set. Like,
We all
Dawn says,
have, yeah. We all have.
yeah, I mean, there's some people that I've met through other people, and I'm just like, hey, I'm really grateful that I met this person through you, but I'm not grateful that I met you. But it's all good.
Well, right. It's like I bought a $60 hoodie that my kids got me for Christmas last year because I wanted this hoodie because I wanted to support Swoop because she puts out some really good documentaries on people that are interesting to me.
Mhm.
And so that was my way of, supporting her channel. because she
I get
puts a
some great
lot of.
ideas on, even when, listen, I thought it was so funny when, and I was a Laura supporter back when she made the merch about cheesecake, I died. I was like, that is so funny with a pig and a cake. Like, I thought it was hysterical, and I was not a fan of hers. Like, I did not think Wendy was like, but I was just like, look at this pig and a cake. Like, I just thought
Oh
it was
my!
funny. Like, this friggin' cheesecake.
I guess that was before my time, or I wasn't around. That
Well,
does sound
here was
pretty interesting.
Laura was sitting on the floor with us,
Uh
groveling
huh.
over eating a cheesecake that some other Patreon bought. And
Oh, the one that she didn't get delivered because it
yes,
was. Oh, okay. I remember that
the story was
debacle.
great. Like, okay, so I loved Hummingbird. She was such a nice woman. She really was. Like, she told it, like, she gave it to her like it is. Like, she was good people. Like, she legit bought like 2 cheesecakes from Dayton's school.
Uh huh.
And Laura was supposed to have them sent to her house. She didn't. They got sent to her house instead. So instead of like getting off of her lard butt and sending the cakes to her house, she kept them. And so,
Oh God.
and Hummingbird was mortified. So she was just like, don't worry about it. Like, just keep the cakes. I'm all set. And so she never
Mm.
sent her the cakes. And so we were on a Discord call one night, and then Laura was sitting on the floor eating cake in her kitchen with a fork. And I was just like, ew, what are you doing? Like, listen, I told you, I start itching and scratching because I was like, what are you doing? Like, weren't you supposed to mail that lady her cake? Well, like, whatever. I'm all set. Like,
Well,
I'll
here's
just,
my question: was she eating the whole thing, or did she
yes,
slice?
yes.
Oh, gross.
Dude, she had the
Oh.
fork in the cake. Like, I don't lie. You can ask anybody. Red Dragon.
Oh
Everybody was
no,
on
no, I believe you. Oh my God.
I was
Really?
laughing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I stay muted for your safety. Okay. So I don't say shit.
Whoa.
I was like, okay, whatever. Like, it's all good. We're laughing. We're
So
having a good
she
time.
lives. So at the time, she lives in a house with teenagers, but she wouldn't give them cheesecake. Was she used to hold
Yeah.
it?
She
Oh
had a
my
lock on the
God.
refrigerator. She had a lock on
Oh,
the
that's right. I
refrigerator.
remember that. Something
Yeah.
about one of the kids. Apparently, one of the kids had it because he was a teenager and he'd be hungry. I remember hearing her padlock the fridge, and I thought that was the most.
She was hiding in the kitchen eating the cake because she didn't want them to see her eating the cake while they were in the bedroom.
Mm.
So this is what it was. That's what it was. So we it was just like normal, another day in Rome, and we were just all hanging out, chatting, and so she was eating the cake. No big deal. Like, and I'm sitting there like, wait, what? Like, you have a lock on the fridge, but your kid's in the bedroom, and you're sitting on the floor eating the cake, so he don't see you. All right, whatever. But wait, that cake's not supposed to be yours anyway.
That's crazy.
I
That's
was
super crazy.
dying. So I'm like, I was texting somebody, and I was just like, wait, what do you mean? So, because I got questions, I was like, what do you mean you don't? What are you supposed to send that cake to somebody else? But I don't say
And God knows what she does off when she's not around y'all. What do you think she's doing when she's not on a call?
Where
That's
the
gotta be
hell's
crazy.
Capone? Capone, where are you? I was dying because I was just like, yo, what's going on? Like, poor lady didn't get her damn cakes, but whatever. Like, it became like a whole disaster. But then, when you feel bad and you're just like, no, don't worry about it. It's all right. Like it's okay. You keep it because, I know you don't have any money. So, keep it for yourself. I mean, after a while, it became funny. It was a joke, but I was the only one probably not laughing, but I was laughing to myself. But that's what she does, So then people feel bad for her. So they're like, here's $100. Here's $50. Take your kid grocery shopping. I was like, oh my God.
I know. When I would see that, and when I still see it, I'm like, what? Why are you giving? I mean, oh my God. I'm like, if somebody was to start dropping me money, I mean, it's one thing if I started a channel and say you give me, $10, $20, I'd be like, oh great, that will help me pay for my, my software, like because I've heard you got to pay for certain things if you are live streaming, you got to pay for StreamYards or you got to pay for something because not all of it's free.
Right.
I mean, I would put it towards what I call, help pay for the channel, but I wouldn't be saying that's crazy.
We're going way back. We're going way back to the old
Right.
school. This is when, like I said, like this is when the donkeys rode the unicorns in the days of the funny ha ha ha, and the real reason to go live to be like, oh my God, did you hear what she said? Like
When it was when it was throwing back in the days when you could mudsling and it was mudsling in it, and a lot of
Yeah.
it at the end of the day was still just funny.
Yeah,
Not like
now
today. Ugh.
yeah, now it's like Sinner doesn't like me. Oh my god, did you see who was in her chat? Like, what do you
I
mean?
know. People be like, "Have you seen such?" Oh, they were in such and such chat, and so because of the fact who they are and where they are, depending on who you are, you're like, "Oh." To me, I'd be like, "So what? So what? If you're in somebody's chat? I don't care."
Who
But other
cares?
people, if they find out you're in certain person's chat, oh, you're enemy. You're part of the enemy now. I'd be like,
Oh,
okay.
Madonna Mia. I don't know. I was telling a girl the other night, she's got a channel, Oblivious Benson. I love her. She's so funny. Like, she had asked me one time something about, she told me she put olives in lasagna. I was like, ew, we can't be friends. Like, you're not supposed to put olives in lasagna. And she was like, what do you mean? I love that. I go, oh my God, stop that right now. That's like pineapples on pizza. I mean, I get it. I've had it once before. It's not terrible, but it's just not an Italian thing. It's not a New York thing. We don't put pineapple on pizza. But
Then I won't tell you that I like Hawaiian pizza. I actually like ham. I do actually like Canadian bacon with pineapple. It just
listen,
tastes good, but
I
I
know.
don't eat it very often.
I have a cousin. I have a cousin in New York. He owns a pizzeria in Brooklyn, and he
Oh,
always tells
okay.
me. He always tells me all the time. He's like, "Dawn, listen, shut up." He goes, "At the end of the day, I get the most weirdest requests for years from all the people around here that order the most ridiculous things, like bologna on pizza." He's like, "You don't understand." He goes, "I gotta pay. I gotta make what the people want. All right." He goes, "The days of just a regular pie or a sausage pie." He's like, "Every once in a while, I get these friggin' weirdos." I'm like. So I'll call him every once in a while and I'm like, all right, so what'd you make this week? He goes, shut up. I go, I just want to know. Like, if you start making like a mayonnaise pizza, like that's it. I'm just not
Oh, boy, that doesn't even sound good.
it's
Ew.
just disgusting. Like, there's just certain things where he'll just say no and he won't do it. But I mean, he'll throw pineapples on a pizza. He'll put some olives on whatever. But I'm just like, oh my God, that's disgusting. Like the
Okay,
bologna
then I
on
better not. But I guess I better not tell you that I actually like spinach pizza once in a while.
I like that. I do like a white pie.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. There's certain things that over the years I've
Pepper
adapted.
pizza. I will not send you a pepper pizza. I might send you a spinach pizza, but I won't
You
send you a
remember
pepper
that?
pizza.
Wait,
Yes.
didn't her lips get like 10-ton like Tessie from
We
Peppers?
think but I think she faked a lot of that shit. Because there's too many food items with pepper in it that she would be having a chronic, rash. Because there's just too many things out there with salt and pepper in it. Active ingredients.
Listen, there's just so many, excuse me, there's so many people out there now that are willing to do 10 times worse to your shit that I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna eat home tonight. Or I'll make it myself. Or you know what?
Do you
Like
remember?
I tell my husband
Do
all
you
the time,
remember?
don't complain,
Were you,
okay? Just don't.
were you, were you there when Truthfully Trisha threw the turtle?
I heard about it though. Did she break a turtle's back or something?
I don't know exactly, but the thing is for some reason I can't remember exactly all the details. But all I know is that she threw a turtle and she got shamed forever because I think she threw it and it landed on its back or something. I mean, you see a turtle upside down and usually a nice person will go over and just flip it over and take it off
She's
the
an
road or
idiot though.
something.
She really is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we know.
I just remembered like I watched her a couple of times and I was like, I have to unsubscribe. I cannot engage
I
in
could
this like craziness.
this is how I first heard about live stream was when I first saw Truthfully Trisha. And this was just like 2018, 2019. This is the first time I ever heard of live streaming.
Mhm.
So I watched her for like a couple of weeks, but after a while I started going, okay, this woman's either super crazy or she's good at playing crazy.
Mhm.
And then of course I went on to see other channels and I started finding other communities that live stream and it was just a new world
Mhm.
of engagement. Whereas YouTube used to be passive, where you just watch videos, maybe you put a like or maybe you put a little comment on the end. I didn't know you could actually meet people and talk to people
Mhm.
in live streams.
I feel like I
It,
seen her ex-husband first before I even seen her. I
Oh,
don't even think
really?
yeah, I think I seen Sean, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Mandy before I ever
Mm-hmm.
seen her. And I think I seen Diane first before. Because I just remember going, who is this lady and why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is
No,
going
actually,
on?
I saw her when she was still married, but they were getting separated. But
Oh,
he was
okay.
still
So
around. So like I
really?
said, I think it was 2018, 2017 when I would watch it occasionally when he was still there a little bit, and the daughter was still living there for a
Wait,
while.
no, I'm lying. Take it back. It was when they were on Dr. Phil.
Okay.
Wait, were they still together when they were on Dr. Phil?
Yes, I believe
Okay,
they
yeah.
were.
So then whatever that episode was, because I remember going, that's one when? Like
Mm-hmm.
that lady called the Dr. Phil show on her? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why?
Well, according to her, from what I've heard her say in other live streams, does that she was the one that they elected to put on the TV show to speak for a group of people.
Oh my
That
god.
she was chosen by a group of people that were trying to go after Truthfully Trisha to expose her, and she was the one that was elected to go on the TV show to talk to Dr. Phil.
Hmm.
Is what I
Jeez.
remember.
So I just remembered like the fighting and the starting and the whole like Wendy just did this whole insertion of their wait, what's going on? Hold on here. Two cops killed in Virginia Beach? What's going on? Hold on, let me play this clip really quick and see if we can hear this.
Okay.
Two heroes that went to work last night and didn't make it home. Two heroes that paid the ultimate price for our society. And these two heroes, Officer Cameron Gervin and Officer Christopher Reese. Officer Gervin has been with the VBPD since 2020. Officer Reese has been with us since 2022. And I was just informed by the sheriff that prior to that, Chris was a deputy sheriff with the VBSO from 2019 to 2022. And last night, Officers Gervin and Reese were riding double in the 4th precinct, assigned to the midnight shift traffic car. About 11:27 p.m. on South Rosemont, they observed a blue Hyundai Sonata with an expired plate. They attempted to stop this vehicle for an expired plate. The vehicle failed to yield.
Mm-hmm.
They followed the vehicle to the dead end of Sylvan Court, where it came to a stop. At the dead end of Sylvan Court, both officers approached the vehicle. The driver, the male driver, was immediately argumentative, refused to exit the vehicle at the officer's request. They made numerous requests for him to exit. At some point, he complied with those requests, stepped out of the vehicle. Almost immediately, there was a tussle between the officers and this individual. While that tussle was occurring, this individual pulled a pistol from his pocket and immediately shot both VBPD officers. Those officers fell to the ground. While on the ground, defenseless, he shot them each a second time.
Holy crap. That is
That's
Damn.
evil. That's
Wow.
evil.
Yeah, somebody just sent me the clip of that. Oh my god.
That's evil.
I saw something come through before, but I didn't realize that they had a press conference on it. Oh my god. That is evil. That's terrible. That's disgusting. Well, rest in peace to those two officers. Jesus.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
And then you wonder why some people don't want to do it anymore or be a teacher anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it's
I tell you, there's just some people that just cannot deal with law and order. They just can't.
mm-mm.
And so I just feel like if you can't be a good person to society, like, what are you doing? I don't know.
There's some people who they think the world is the Wild West and they have the right to, they don't believe in following laws and orders for everybody's safety.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I just
There's
read a
some
story too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna tell you, I just read a story this morning that they arrested a kid that was driving from, I don't know if it was New York or what, down to Florida. They nailed him, got him down here for battery, beating up his ex, I don't know if it was girlfriend or whatever, abandoned and left his 8-day-old baby in the snow, came down here and the cops got him. And so
Damn.
I was just like, just, and so they have a picture of him in cuffs in the car, and I was just, and they're gonna extradite him back to, I think it's New York or wherever, Pennsylvania, wherever the hell he's from. And I'm like, get out of here. Just don't come down here, because they will get you. Don't try it.
Yeah, there's a joke, as you probably know now, there's a joke that, oh, it happened in Florida. Yeah, everything crazy happens in Florida. Which I know it's usually a meme or a joke, but when stuff like this happens and you hear the behind story, it's just a tragedy, just tragic.
Mhm.
That 2 officers who went through God knows what to become officers to help serve, and here they're just doing their job, and they're not coming home because of some asshole.
Yeah, it's sad. It
Well,
really is. And it's, and they were lucky to catch this kid too, because he was engaging in a traffic violation or whatever. So they got him. But
yeah.
it bothers me. It's like, then they want to commit a crime somewhere else, and then they want to come down here. It's like, don't get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't want you here.
Yeah. Well, Don, not to end on a day, but
Yeah.
somebody just got home and it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, listen, we've been live for 2 hours and 21 minutes.
Wow.
I'm going to remove you from the panel, and then we will say
Okay.
bye. Have a great
Okay.
night, and it was nice of you coming up.
Okay, thanks. I enjoyed
All right.
it.
Bye. See
Bye.
you later. All right, everybody, listen, thank you so much. It is Saturday, February 22nd. I really appreciate you guys hanging out in here with me tonight. And hopefully next time we will talk about all the things. And listen, anything you guys want to talk about, just listen, drop me a line, leave it in the comments section, whatever you guys need. I'm here for you. And until next time.
New York music, it makes her dance. She hears the music, here's her chance. A Brooklyn girl, that's Dawn Marie. She's sharing New York memories. See the city with Dawn Marie, and hang in Little Italy. R.I.P. South Factory. The real party is Kings County. The songs about music all around. That's where she found the Brooklyn sound. New York music, it makes her dance. She hears the music, here's her chance. Brooklyn music, she takes her stance. She hears the music, here's her chance. Her large Italian family, they taught her hospitality, empathy, humanity, and strength in her community. Her justice call, defiant tone, rings out from her Long Island home. New York music, it makes her dance. She hears the music, here's her chance. Brooklyn music, she takes her stance. She hears the music, here's her chance. She's so damn cool, so smart and quick. She's old school, this New York chick. Brooklyn music, she takes her stance. She hears the